Welcome everybody. This is the Keith's on painkillers arc of Password because I'm bad at being a human apparently, and my back slipped and I am now just sitting very still while we start Route A. Hopefully Route A.
I mean, technically we're going to be resuming it, aren't we?
We'll be starting over and fast forwarding through what should be almost exclusively. I imagine the first day or two we'll have no new stuff, so it'll just fly by. But we're going to be picking Tyson instead of Sal, which happens earlier than the choice to not kill Roswin.
Gotcha. Okay.
But most of it will be the same probably. So new game intended for ages 18 and over. I think they could probably remove that.
Yeah.
Or at least soon.
I mean,
they
I
will.
think someone mentioned that the game used to have sexual scenes in it, and now they just don't. So maybe not necessary.
Marrow. Just kidding, lol. Whoa. Grumbling, I took a sip. Thankfully, it tasted fine. Oh, my controller's not on. I forgot to turn on. Very smart. Okay. Okay. It was just the fact that I changed the name slightly. I forgot. Sorry, I forgot that the bus driver had a Sprite. Like
Isn't he a polar bear?
Yeah, I think he's a polar bear. I just saw him flash on the screen and I'm like, wait, what? What's happening? I was scared. Remember the early days? Wow. You can check out the conservatory. It's a greenhouse for people.
We're so lucky to
I'm
be
so
blessed
nostalgic
with a
over these early
conservatory.
days. Enter isn't working? Is it because skip is still active?
I couldn't tell you.
There you go, it worked. I think it was because skip doesn't work with the password thing. Oop. That's just a slight logistical thing. Yeah, these don't matter. But I'm a little nostalgic over the early days because I kind of got a resurgence of it actually during the fact that the game was losing its mind more recently, but I do prefer to just be making situational jokes about the things that are happening in the story and not critiquing the writing the entire time. And the early days had fun stuff like that. It was more fun to be like, it's a greenhouse for people. It's a conservatory for plants, and just like looping on the dumb thing, just riffing on those weird ass people. So Tyson, we're gonna go hang out with Tyson today at the beginning, which we did not do originally because he probably was like, all right, Toaster, who you want to date? And you're like, giant reptile man. This will never backfire. But all right, so welcome to our semi-confusing fast forward through of Route A, where we will eventually choose to have Tyson as our character this time, and we will have Oswin not get revealed, which presumably keeps him alive, and then we'll see what we've been missing this whole time, because this seems to be the audience favorite best case scenario version of the story, which should hopefully have some kind of contrast with what happened last time, I hope. But it also will be a decent chunk of it should be moving way faster than normal, because all of the stuff we've seen before, we'll just blow right by. A notable distance away from everyone else was Tyson, and I felt a little bad. He didn't get on with anyone else here, from what I could tell, and they didn't get on well with him either. Still, he watched as I approached, his expression softening as I got closer and eventually smiling by the time I reached the chair next to him. Coming to sit next to me, huh? I nodded, trying to play it off as no big deal. Figured I'd keep you company. You were all by yourself, after all. Yeah, and I like my space. You, on the other hand. He grabbed me roughly in a headlock by throwing an arm over my shoulder and grinding a knuckle into my head, making me whine. Can't get enough of me, huh? I think that's just by definition not a headlock. He let me go, chuckling to himself as I gave him a disapproving stare. I could leave, you know. Just watch. Plenty of other places to sit. He stared at me, deadpan. Well, Go on then. Now I was torn between if I should stay or if I should go. The moment I shifted, though, his hand found my shoulder and firmly held me down in my seat. He was genuinely torn? I thought he was joking. Too slow. You're stuck here now. With one hand on my shoulder, he skewered some meat with his fork and shoveled it into his mouth. When he was sure I wasn't going anywhere, he removed his hand. You doing all right? Yeah? Why? Are you? I'm fine. Still wondering why you invited me to this, though. You're my friend too, Ty. I asked if I could invite someone, so yeah. And you picked me to come to your end of school thing. What's wrong with that? Got kicked out, remember? This isn't a celebration for me so much as just something to do. But are you liking it at least? Sure. Place is great. At least the gym is. Fuck knows what else I'll be doing around here. That's what I've been wondering. Making friends, maybe? Yeah, good luck on that, pup. The rest of the meal we ate in silence, occasionally me looking across to what Ty had helped himself to and finding that it was just meat and nothing but. Occasionally looking as if each time you check it'll be a different thing on the plate. Just surprise. Compared to what I had, I felt that maybe I should have offered Ty some vegetables, but he seemed content enough with what he picked. Ty? What? He wiped his mouth on the back of his arm, pushing his plate forward. Reckon there'll be dessert? Why? Still hungry? Maybe a little? Besides, something sweet sounds nice. Something sweet, huh? What do you want? What do you mean, what do I want? What do you want? What do you mean, what do you mean, and what do I want? This is a straightforward question. Fuck off. I asked first. Just tell me and I'll go steal it or find it from somewhere. It's fine. It's just he steals and he was kicked out of school, and 1, stealing is bad. 2, unless it's already in the kitchen, I don't think you're going to find anywhere nearby to steal it from anyway. Got me there. I don't even know what I want, so that makes things harder. Damn. At least I'm not in the same boat. So do you want something sweet? Free food is free food. I'll take what I can get. I nodded slowly, wondering what else was... The hell is this? Is this the... everyone doesn't know what dessert is thing? I looked up from what I had to what was set in front of Tyson. Looks like chocolate cake.
I forgot that everyone forgot what food was for a moment. Like it's just a thought that was so insane so early that it filtered out of my brain. And like, yeah, Sal not knowing what salad is funny, but I legitimately forgot that this was like a group characteristic.
You forgot about like the tiramisu scene and everything.
Yeah, the strawberry ice cream.
It was so early. Remember the first day?
No, I don't.
Legitimate. I at the very least can remember, because we were talking about it, that password was already a thing when we went to BLFC, and that was 100 years ago. So we've been playing this game for 1 billion years. I'm a little scared of how long we've been going. Ugh. What's wrong with chocolate? Also, what happened to you taking what you can get? Give me yours. Wait, why? It smells like coffee. Yeah, and I like coffee. You have chocolate cake, I have tiramisu. Trade me. No. Trade me. No. Dave? What if we share?
Why did the dog take the chocolate?
I don't think he took it. I think he was given it because Benson wants him dead immediately. I don't get what the big deal is. You like chocolate. Ty sighed, shrugging. You like chocolate too, dumbass. Oh. So share? Alright, share. Without asking, Ty roughly cut his slice of cake in half and put the bigger half on my plate. Immediately after, he scooped barely half of what I had onto his. Hey, this isn't... What? Just enjoy your dessert, you brat. I flashed Ty a smile and started with the cake, while he went for the tiramisu. It was great chocolate cakes, rich, slightly bitter, without losing any of the normal sweetness you'd find in chocolate. If Orlando had made this for Tyson, had he just gone for with a safe option? I'd had it before. It was Orlando's go-to whenever it was someone's birthday. I bumped Tyson in the arm, giving him a quick smile, and he flashed me one back, seemingly in a better mood. When I'd finished my cake, I looked at the tiramisu. Tyson seemed to like it, so I wondered how I'd enjoy it. Taking a spoonful, I gave it a try. And then, no one knows what food is. It's interesting, now it's day 2 already. It's interesting unpacking how, like, characterization is handled. Because, like, now we know that Tyson will do anything to protect or help Dave. But he also fucks with him a bit. And we also know that he steals stuff. But the fact that those elements are kind of all established in that conversation, but in ways that are confusing is interesting. Like, it makes sense you would try, but managing to put stealing in the scene where it's just about somebody might want a dessert and you're in a secluded mansion was just an interesting choice. I'm like, stealing just doesn't apply to this, like, topic. Jim. Tyson. I like how you smell. Anyway, see you later. Bye. Yoga? I'm just not going to be invested in this particular scene. I'm clicking on them all in case it affects something, but I also don't know if they do. It is interesting.
I don't think it does.
It's interesting that this just was a different setup originally. Like, there was, like, let's go around and check with everybody in these variety locations. In particular, it's the slightly... Oh, wait, this is a callback, though. It's particularly interesting just because, like, it's almost like a microcosm of the multi-routes thing, where it's, like, tons of optional information, but then you're, like... It kind of sets you up in the slightly scary situation where you just don't know what information's been established for the player because you've given them a little too much freedom. And that's what I think about a bit when you say, here's 6 options to check out, but also there's an option to quit and just leave immediately and not go to any of them. And I'm like, but aren't those scenes designed to characterize everybody? And they're treated as, like, optional hangouts, like a Persona game or something.
The thing about that like is difficult is that when you put an option to leave early, it implies that that's a meaningful choice and that these choices are going to be mutually exclusive. So it's always kind of deflating when you get 7 choices on screen in a visual novel and you literally are just clicking through the list. It's like if the order doesn't matter, then just show it to us. Like, don't even give us a choice. There's no point in it.
Because you would think,
especially because once you read it all, and
it's
you're
like
on
a mutually
reread.
exclusive choice, essentially, where you're like,
yeah.
I'm picking this thing because I want to hang out with that person, but that's going to affect my relationship with that person, and so on.
Yeah. You should basically...
Instead, it's like, would you like the content or no content in the game?
Yes,
where you reread?
exactly.
Which is, I don't know if that's a choice that's meaningful to anybody.
Yeah.
Given you made everyone's desserts last night, it's no surprise you spent a lot of time in the kitchen. Well, I tried with what I had to work with. Tyson and Haas were the hard ones. Chocolate cake seemed a safe bet. For Tyson? Well, I don't really, you don't really what? Like him. Thanks, bud. But can't have him not get a dessert. Imagine the fuss he'd make. Imagine what he might do to me. Well, I would have shared with him if that happened. That would have been quite a scene to do, though. Just very visibly exclude one person out of everybody. Here's everyone's desserts. Everyone's walks right past Tyson. You did like yours though, right? Yeah, it had coffee and brrr.
It's just funny that Orlando is like actively a dick for no reason, but the thing is that the story is like, we don't like Tyson. He's a dick. Anyway, we're gonna antagonize him. It's just like, okay. Yeah. Off to a good start. Day 2. I hate Orlando. All right, I hate Tyson. Do you remember the passwords?
I think the issue is that they don't work yet. Oh, and it also just at this point in the story, it just auto quits when you try once.
Gotcha.
We never learned any passwords that should work at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
I think I heard that at some point there's like a developer sort of debug cheat type nonsense password that does something. That's put there for some reason. But I think this is just meant to establish the groove. It is interesting though, like at the beginning of the game, Dave just keeps going back to the thing out of curiosity, and it does successfully set up the vault's existence so that you then are thinking about it in the future. But he very pointedly only checks out the vault when he needs to initiate a password ending that he can recover from once the plot actually starts. And he somehow always knows when to do that, despite not knowing that the bad thing's coming each time.
Yeah.
Is basically what happens at that point. So now day 3, and we had a chance to message anybody, and we were probably already trying to romance Sal at this point. I knew Ty would be grumpy if I bothered him this early in the morning, but he was level-headed about stuff like this. I had faith that despite him chewing me out for interrupting his sleep, he'd put me at ease. Throwing caution to the wind, I sent him a message. Minutes ticked by, and right as I considered messaging Dean instead, Tyson replied. It was curt, but at least I knew he wasn't brushing me off the moment another message came through immediately after, saying I could stop by. I'm upset by the idea that it interrupts his sleep, because that means he's sleeping with a phone with notifications on. Yeah, I can't. I could never have my phone be capable of making noise when any number of things could just make it get notifications. I assumed that meant he wasn't going to be getting out of bed, so I got dressed enough that I could make the walk down the hall. The light was off as I eased open the door. Slipping inside, I carefully closed it behind me. Ty? I kept my voice low, but I could see his eyes watching me from the bed. What little light in the room showed... What little light in the room showing he was still clearly in bed on his side. Come here. Sure. Wandering closer, I sat on the bed, playing with my fingers and not really sure where to start. So, better be a good reason why you woke me up, pup. He yawned, scratching and adjusting himself as he sat there. I noticed that the fly on his pants were undone, a sign that he'd only just thrown them on. Occasionally, Ty did sleep in the buff. The fly on his pants.
Why would he know that?
They're just so... They're brothers.
They're brothers.
They're brothers.
They're so brothers. He pays very close attention when he gets naked. That's how you know they're brothers.
I'm still trying to remember when the brothers thing was introduced, because it definitely wasn't there at the beginning. They were friends or something. But like... I swear the idea that they were brothers might only started getting mentioned during or after the dad story or something. Oh, if you want some eye candy, it could have waited until I was awake. Or not. I looked up, noticing Ty watching me, and I gulped, laughing nervously. Sorry, but your fly is undone. What? Get a good enough look? To be fair, it was dark enough in the room that I couldn't see anything, but you can literally see. But with how he was sitting, even if all the lights were on, I doubt I would have seen anything of worth anyway. I guess not see anything as in, like, in detail, as opposed to the literal, what that word means, because he's observing with his eyes to begin with. That's the premise of what he's pointing out. You wanted to talk, so hurry up already. Right, sorry. You look like you haven't slept. I slept a little. You okay? Just this house, it's creeping me out. Just a house, though. And where is everyone? We're it. How else could we get a fucking mansion for a month for free? What? I don't get what that point is, to be honest. I feel like it'd be easier to get it for free if it was packed with people. I mean, I paid nothing, unless you guys paid for it before I was invited. You can ask for money now, are you? Of course not, Ty. I wouldn't do that. He grunted in response, leaning back and doing up his fly so he could freely lay back. You reckon the weirdo would put this together and then just screw you over? Hey, be nice. Still a weirdo, believing in ghost stuff. Heard enough of it from the other end of the bus. What? Believing in ghost stuff. Oh, I guess Roswell talks about ghost stuff. I thought they're talking about Orlando being afraid of ghosts, and I'm like, he didn't do this trip, right? You don't believe it even a little? Pfft, why would I? You've never just once thought that maybe? No. Way I see it, there's enough things that can hurt you in the flesh. There's no point worrying about it. Even if they did, chances are you'd be dead long before any of that mattered. Demons exist, sure. Okay. But not in the way that Boar wants to think. Oh. There was an
what
awkward
does it even mean?
I don't, yeah, just,
what?
Why would ghosts exist? That's stupid. Demons, though, obviously. Anyway, the way that he just nonchalantly and certainly says that and just moves on. I'm like, okay. There was an awkward silence held between us for almost a full minute before Ty spoke again. Look, would it make you feel better if I said I'll keep you safe? I can't punch a ghost, but I can have your back, all right? Just like normal. Yeah, that helps. Thanks. Don't go being paranoid, though. I won't, Ty. Promise. You fucking better. Now, I'm gonna go get some sleep. Unless you're planning on sleeping on the floor, better get back to your room. Ty walked me to the door, opening it for me. He leaned on the door frame as I passed through it, reaching out to grab me by the shoulder to get one last thing in. Next time, try not to make it so early. Otherwise, come talk anytime. He closed the door before I could get a word in, but I felt somewhat better. I had half a mind to knock and thank him properly, but I also figured that I could always thank him later. Can you imagine how awkward that interaction would be?
Yep.
Just knock on the door, awkwardly wait for him to open it again. Thank you. Fuck. With that, I wandered back to my room until it was time to head down for breakfast. Brrr. Oop. Dean or Tyson? Yeah, this is the beginning of it being a clear split between the two. We picked Dean last time? Or maybe we didn't. After talking to Ty this morning, I figured I may as well spend breakfast with him too. Morning. Morning. Feeling better? I am, yeah. Hungry though. You get some sleep after I left? Eventually. Took care of myself first though. Wow. What, like groomed? Yeah. Sure, that's what most guys do in the morning before getting up. Before getting up? Okay. Come on. Think about it for a sec. Oh.
Go on, think about it. I'm your brother. What do brothers do in the morning?
Think about my bulgy from my unzipped zipper that is inserted in this narrative.
This game is so improved by knowing the character arcs from the other routes before you read the routes. Keith, didn't you see all along?
I don't love the fact that they insist so hard that they're brothers in every other route, but he's also like an explicit romance option in his own route, where they probably drop that exact phrasing, but I know they're not brothers, but also it's just weird to emphasize that in a game where his route is what it is, presumably. It's also just weird that he's like speaking euphemistically about jacking off and then prolonging the subject over and over until you explicitly acknowledge that it's him jacking off, which defeats the
you
purpose.
literally like it's literally like if that was his goal, he could literally say, "No, I just cranked one out before I got up. That's why it took me a while." Like he's not hiding it. He's not being coy. He's literally guiding.
Sorry, I just have Olympic stamina. It's a whole thing every day. It's the first 3 hours. One advantage of sleeping with no clothes. He's just still going. Still. Wake me up that early again, you might become part of the morning routine if you aren't careful. Oh my god.
This is porn dialogue. We're reading porn dialogue.
I'll keep that in mind. Okay. I've been told that I'm oblivious to flirting, but I would not miss that. I definitely would not miss that. Oh, so this is the part where they're fighting. This part's stupid.
It is.
This was this chase after Tyson. Bye, everybody. I've got to go reconcile the fact that everybody hates him. I'll go visit the vault. I still don't know what to put here, but
Wasn't it Dreamer? Was this one?
You think it works already? Let's see.
Try it.
Password invalid for current date. You remembered it correctly. It's just not a password. I blinked at the error. What's this? Work on another day? Please input password for current day.
The fact that the passwords work for specific days is also just so contrived. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last system, last time we did this, because it's been 100 years since we've entered a password. Yeah. This system for a game called Password,
it's shockingly convoluted and changes the rules or the presentation almost every time for a thing that only happens a few times total per story and then drops off completely in favor of dreams. The password
system is so nonsense to me because it also implies like the vault will be the thing that triggers your memory. So these passwords have been like programmed in based on your trauma from previous world lines. But that also implies that the person who made the vault / is the vault has seen all the world lines, which we also know isn't true because many of them haven't happened yet. So the fact that it works and that we could ostensibly just put in a password if we just looked it up or knew it breaks the continuity of the game. It's just nonsense.
There's a lot of mess to unpack about the password system because of the fact that, like, one, why does it generate a specific password that is a real word and then you have to remember that and type that in? Like, I guess that's, you can almost see it as being like a, well, not really. I was gonna say you can almost see it as a morphogenetic fields thing where it's like, oh, I'm retaining this information from the bad ending and then I'm using it to enter the password. But actually the entire point of the password is to give you the memory from the other route, so you don't have it. So you actually shouldn't know the password, because the whole thing is that the vault shows you the vision of the bad thing from the other route in order to save you. But that means you don't know anything about the other route. So even if you've experienced it, you don't know the password because that is part of the information that only the vault can give you. If you can remember the password somehow, then you might as well be able to just remember the everything else anyway. So it's just like an extra device that is inserted to do what was already happening in Zero Escape without the device. But it has a chicken and the egg problem there, where you're somehow remembering the password from the bad end, but not anything else from the bad end. So that's how you get the access to the thing. But then there's also the issue where, like, on a gameplay level, it makes perfect sense that you would rewind to the most recent fork, and then that's where you put in the password to stop the bad thing from happening. But narratively, it's completely baffling what password works when and why. It's like, oh, is it the same day as the thing that goes wrong? Is it 4 days before the thing that goes wrong? Because, like, I think in Sal's case, and maybe even the first 3 examples or something, the password you use rewinds to earlier that day or the day before, but then the werewolf password or something else like that, like, is like several days before the thing that happens goes wrong. So there's no consistency to any of it, let alone the fact that, like, the first one's caps lock, here's the answer, and then later on you have to deduce the answer from the bad ending, but that's still you not learning how they work, because after that they start being introduced and deducible before the ending even starts. So for both Massacre and Werewolf, we had the password before we got to the vault for the first time, and then they just throw their hands up in the air and they're like, fuck it, the rat gives you dreams now, we're never doing passwords again. So there was no, like, consistency or learning curve to it. It just had different rules every time and then got abandoned as a concept. But yeah, like I do think that it sincerely is like a narrative break that you somehow... Yeah, there's no way to reconcile all the different interpretations of how this works. Because like I said, there's the chicken and the egg thing where you have to know the password in order to access the memory, but you will only know that password from the memory to begin with, so you can't... That doesn't make any sense. Like, the vault shouldn't expect information from you that you can't have because it hasn't given it to you yet. But there's also the concern of, like, okay, if you're trying to justify it differently, it's like, oh, you have to create that bad ending. Like, you have to you have to experience the bad ending, create that route, and that creates the memory, and now the vault can help you, which would make sense and should be how the game works, to have it properly zero escape and not do the weird thing where it doesn't do that. But that's also not the case, because the password already exists and can be used without you actually playing the bad ending, and then eventually you start getting the passwords before having to experience that. So even though the bad ending technically exists, you can just skip them in after the first ones, and then later on, Thanatos just keeps showing you visions of things of experiences you've never created yet. So it's not the thing where Junpei is experiencing other timelines that you have personally played in the game, and now they're all building to him having a larger understanding of what's going on and being able to use that information to escape into like a better ending or something. It's just Dave having weird visions of hypothetical things that could happen, which means that that means that every timeline already exists at this point and does not have to be created by the player, which means that you don't have to experience a single bad ending ever in order to create a single password, because they're all there. Because otherwise you could never have Thanatos showing you visions of things we still to this day have never experienced. So it's just a huge jumbled mess where I don't think there's a single interpretation that makes all of the different all the different angles of this match up with each other into one coherent way that the universe works and the vault works and memories work and passwords work and so on. I'm not sure. It kind of feels like the rules weren't written down in concrete terms, and it just kind of became the vague, shows you other timelines, solves your problems device, and the interpretation of that changes from like day to day over the course of years of writing. Anyway, the LED screen was now asking for a specific password? Asking for a password specific to this day? Did Benson know about this? How is he going to know what password to give us if we found all the medals? Oh, so that was already introduced. Okay. All right, the password. I'm going to make my first save just in case we somehow know how to do one here, but that wouldn't make any sense, generally speaking. Right, and then we'll give up. Day 4. Wow, look at us go. Picking Tyson seemed to make the most sense if he wanted to play. At least that way no one else would get stuck with him and run the risk of another fight starting. Glad you brought him, buddy. But I like Tyson. He wasn't perfect, but we spent a lot of time together as it was, so there was some level of familiarity there that made picking him as a partner make sense. It's the usual thing where the sentence could have ended at the halfway point and not continued and it would have been better, but we spent a lot of time together as it was. Stop. The rest of it is like you explaining the concept of human interactions to an audience member that's never heard of people before. But also,
user left your channel. User joined your channel.
Ah, you back?
Yeah, I clicked into the TeamSpeak window and I accidentally clicked on one of the other rooms.
You fool. Like, not only does it sound like you're explaining human interactions to somebody as if you expect them to not know what they are, knowing what we know now about Tyson, that's just a super weird thing to say about the person that you've been basically living with and went through trauma with and have as your best friend for years and you think of as family. there was some level of familiarity there that made picking him as a partner make sense. You know, we kind of get each other a little bit. It almost makes me wonder if it was planned yet or not. Not that it was really a chance to learn anything new, but I wasn't going to say no if it happened. Learn anything new? Wait, who in this friend group are you expecting to learn something new from in this context? I looked to my right, unsure if what I was about to suggest would ruin Roswell's plans for this thing. Okay, so this is the moment it becomes Tyson's route. The blades are there now. Still, he was to some extent my responsibility. Ty. I'll pick Tyson. He looked me over and I started to chuckle, the rest of the table going silent after I'd announced my choice. Me? Really? Is that bad? This is fucking stupid, but I don't know, like, if you want me to play, I guess I'll give it a shot. I looked to the others, unsure how this was going to mess with the overall plans of things.
Okay, this could still work.
This could still work?
I can still play the role of overseer of this game so the teams can stay even.
Oh
What?
no, had everyone else chosen until it was just me and Roswell and Tyson? And then we chose Tyson and just left Roswell? I don't think he did this last time though, because he was with Orlando.
Yeah.
Although the teams just didn't matter after like today or whatever day the hedge happened on.
There is no teams. The whole concept of there being teams is nonsense because we immediately stopped mattering. There was literally no benefit to becoming teams.
I would be immediately stressed about the idea of the fact that all the teams got shuffled just now if it wasn't for the fact that it actually doesn't affect the story.
Yeah, it literally is completely nonsensical. The fact, this is one of those things where I just like, why is it written to be a team thing? This sets up momentary drama that is immediately not paid off. Like,
it's such a missed opportunity because like dividing people into teams for a scavenger hunt is actually like a really good way to set up a story.
Of solving the problem.
Because across all these different routes, characters are splitting up and maybe going to different activities or locations and different combinations, and they're interacting as groups, and also maybe, oh my god, like escalating the threats and tension as things start going wrong, Final Destination style, and you have to start saving them from weird mishaps. And it's like, that was just a freak accident though, right? Like that bridge just went out. Like that was awful, and I fixed it, but that doesn't mean anything, right? And like you could have like this like growing tension of like whether or not these accidents are happening on purpose, and then unveil the mastermind and blah blah blah. Like I can see where that goes really easily, but instead everyone's just sat in a mansion for 30 days, and the teams didn't happen, and the scavenger hunt doesn't affect the plot, except for the part where it's probably the true ending, but not in a way that's comprehensible to any character in the story, so it's not in the plot.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me because in and of itself, right? This idea is that this is going to be a competition and there's going to be one winner and one loser, but like so quickly it establishes that whatever's in the vault is good for all of us. It's not actually a competition. Even the facade of this just being a silly game to motivate us doesn't make any sense because we immediately aren't motivated to do anything. Like, and I think even more than that, it's like, they're teams. Let's go find the medals. We're all going to split up. But then like in the last time that we did this, didn't we run into people, or wasn't it that there was another team in the hedge maze when we were in the hedge maze?
No, like, no, we all explicitly went in the hedge maze at the same time because we were told that one medal's in the hedge maze right after we were told that we don't know where the medals are. Like there's
so
one
it's
though
just
in the
like,
hedge maze.
Yeah, it's just like bizarre because it's just not meaningful. It's like us splitting it's splitting up into a team to see who gets the thing first, and then it's like when you say goodbye to someone and then walk the same direction that they're walking. Like it's just like, what is the point of this?
We split into teams, we did the hedge maze, we get the medal from the hedge maze, or specifically Orlando does, and then immediately the teams never come up again, and also everyone forgets the entire scavenger hunt existed, even though Roswell was being excited about it for like 3 days straight beforehand. And then literally it never comes up again
specifically
until
never fucking mentions it up.
Yeah. It never comes up again until like day 16 when the road has exploded and Benson is like, but it's really important you do the scavenger hunt. And then we have a whole conversation where we reintroduce the scavenger hunt, and the Tyson's like, "You're getting paid or something?" And like, "Sure, whatever, buddy. Fuck, I'll pay you to do the scavenger hunt." Okay.
Yeah.
And then even though he's motivated by money to do the scavenger hunt, Tyson also still stops the thinking about the scavenger hunt. And once again, Benson and every character never mentions it again past that day. So it's just like, it would be super jarring if they were reintroducing it in that point in the narrative. But they actually just like, there's just one blip. There's just 2 blips of scavenger hunt, like day 4 and 16. And it's never mentioned outside of that context except for when Floranica is saying to get all the medals, but to a person that doesn't understand what that means. Woo!
It's frustrating.
That's her name now. Roswell seemed to be taking this better than expected. Part of me worried that I was going to get chewed out at some point, but for the time being, it seemed as though I was safe.
After all, someone's gotta keep a tally of who finds what so we can declare a winner.
I guess that works. I'll partner up with Dean. Figure that's good enough way to divide the rest of the group.
I don't quite get it, but sure. I suppose that all works out.
Me neither, Dean.
A scavenger hunt would actually be a fun activity for a friend group to do on a trip together.
Incorrect. None of these people are friends.
I know,
Get destroyed
but I'm just
by
thinking,
facts
like,
and logic.
Because life imitates art and so on. This happened to us. We had a fun friend group vacation that was somewhat heightened by the existence of a scavenger hunt that somebody was putting throughout the thing.
Indeed.
The astonishingly, impossibly talented artist Tiny Dragon spent the entire year between 2 MFF trips just drawing every single day on these little cards, just drawing little funny jokes and cartoons and doodles. And then they scattered them all across MFF, hiding another batch of them every day throughout the entire convention. I found like 9 of them out of like the 360. Like I found an astonishing number of them, and I'm looking at them all right now on a lanyard, and they're just fun little guys. They're just cute little guys, and that was actually really fun. Like that was a little burst of endorphins or whatever the fuck the word. You get the good feels when you like spot the little colored, not an index card, but like a quarter of an index card in size, just sticking out from something, and you grab it and you find out what fun little guy it turned out to be, and you compare notes on what you found so far, and that was just like random spikes of happiness. Like everyone loved that when they realized that was happening.
Yeah.
So scavenger hunt's a good idea. I don't know why everyone's immediately bored with the idea and never thinks about it again and then goes on to do nothing instead. It's actually very funny that I'm realizing that we had a version of that. I'm playing with this if it makes it easier.
Scales versus fur. All right.
I don't know if I like that implication.
Yeah, I don't know if I need this to become like a race war with the already very troubling politics of this game. I really don't know if I need that to happen.
I wondered for a moment if Sal had discounted the team of myself and Tyson, or if he was assuming that it was the 4 of us pitted against him in Orlando. He is that stupid, but let's not overthink that. Even Tyson, who seemed reluctant to really interact with anyone else, was lingering close to the group. Almost like you didn't abandon him this time as the one person that doesn't have a team, Dave, when you brought him here yourself, Dave.
Yeah, Dave.
To be clear, Tyson's the only correct answer of who to be on a team with, you fucker. It's the fact that you have all those options, like picking anyone else. I know it's literally the route option, so you have to pick everybody else in order to play the game correctly, but like, it's actually deeply fucked up for Tyson not to get picked by Dave when he doesn't know anyone else here, or they hate him. And Dave brought him here. That said, he was my partner in this, so maybe that was why. Dave's so stupid. He's such a stupid person. Tyson's closer to the group for some reason. Maybe it's because we're partners? I don't know. Someone should investigate this. Roswell seemed to plant himself by the entrance, taking a look inside before looking expectantly at the rest of us, blah blah blah. It's just slight differences. Tyson clapped me on the shoulder while I was hyping myself up, bringing me back to earth. You done being a dork yet? Hey, I'm just having fun with it. I kill you to smile, maybe? Oh, I've got plenty to smile about, pup. You know, with you on my team and all. I tilted my head in confusion, not quite sure what Tyson was getting at before I noticed him glancing at Roswell. The boar was seemingly weighing up his options before heading in by himself. Here, I was about to ask if he wanted to join us, but, well, turned out I was too late in extending that offer. When I looked back to Tyson, he was looking past me towards the entrance of the maze. So, mazes, right? Mazes, yeah. Sandwiches. Fuck them. I say we cheat. Cheat? Isn't that, cheating?
If he can cheat and know, if he knows where they are, then yes, please cheat.
Oh,
please
God,
get
your
us
audio.
closer to the fucking ending of
What
this
did you
game.
do? What did you just open?
Nothing. I didn't open anything.
Oh, your audio is so bad. We're back. That was weird. I don't know how computers work, and they're betraying me in my daily life. Cheat? Isn't that, cheating? And that's bad?
I hope that we can cheat on this stupid fucking thing. If Tyson knows the location of the medals, he legally has to tell me. You
Yes.
legally have to tell me, Tyson.
I want to cheat. Yes. But I don't. I wish. Maybe it's supposed to be cute, but I wish Dave discussed morality differently. Just on any.
Yeah.
The way that he's always like, but that's a bad thing. And that's just the extent of what he has to say. I'm like, but Tyson, stealing is wrong. Even when it's from a dead billionaire who killed children. Only matters if we find the thing. If we don't get caught, no one's gonna know we cheated. How do you even cheat? Does he mean cheat? I guess you're cheating at the hedge maze? But the scavenger hunt is to get the medal, not to solve the maze. That's not even cheating. That's just correctly focusing on the real objective and not the wacky game that someone just got distracted with. This wasn't the first time Tyson had suggested something of the sort, but up until this point, he'd always made it clear that I wasn't to get involved, or just leave it to him. Oh, you just regularly watch Tyson steal and cheat, huh? Apparently something about my laugh just making it harder, but I think he really just wanted to keep me out of trouble. Okay, but they're going to see us when we get in the middle, right? Like, they'll see us climb through the hole. What hole? How did you think we're going to be cheating? I don't know, maybe going through the walls or digging under them, maybe? I shrugged.
I don't know, maybe some bullshit I just made up? I'm dumb. What?
Giving Tyson a sheepish smile as he groaned. Hell no to the digging. But slipping through the walls isn't a bad idea. Points for trying, pup. They're not hedges, though. Just walls with stuff in front of them. Checked it last night after dinner. You scoped out the hedge maze last night?
Did you know that this is gonna happen?
That's... yeah, like, how did you... It's very... What a thing to land on. I mean, I guess we're all wandering around. We will just notice things, but it almost sounds like he, like, scoped the place before we go in, even though the objective just happened. Doesn't matter, anyway. I already know what we're looking for. It's not even in the middle of the maze. I did a double take, frowning. Wait, you already know where the medal is? Why didn't you say anything, or even just grab it when you were here? I'm not sure it's the one that the clue was talking about, but I found something like it. Well, that's one question answered, anyway. What's the other? Why were you out here after dinner? Like, I assumed you'd be doing the thing. You know, in the gym. Masturbating. Hey, I can do what I want when I want. I'll do it right now. But fine.
Do it, you won't. I dare you.
Do it, you won't. I was out here thinking about stuff. Need the fresh air for a change. Air out the boys. I held Tyson's gaze, expecting him to elaborate, but he left the explanation there. Come on, pup. Let me show you this thing I found. Sorry, every now and then I reset what I interpret the word pup as. Come on, pup, let me show you something. Hey, puppy. Trust me, this nose can lead us there, no problem. I've been ruined by Twitter. Hey, puppy, I got something to show you today. Tyson wandered off towards the maze, expecting me to follow close behind, with how he slowed down upon realizing I wasn't immediately next to him. That's a sentence. He led the way, slightly ahead and sticking to my left-hand side. It was what he used to do in school. Apparently it was easier with him leading so he could shove people out of the way, given all I had to do was follow in his wake.
He actually hung out with Tyson at school after all this? I thought the whole point was they didn't know each other. Like, I mean, that Tyson and the others, like, avoided each other at school. And that's why Dave hanging out with the others at school meant they didn't know that he was friends with Tyson. What?
The friend group is just very poorly defined and desperately needs universal scenes that everyone has early on that set up what the dynamic is. Like, akin to like how
flashbacks can be a very sloppy way of like characterizing things, but I do actually think this game kind of desperately needs them really badly. Like, I need to know the dynamic of this group before we get here, because the way that and it's not that you can't tell a story where you learn the awkward dynamic that already exists. It's that just the way that this story approaches the dynamic is really unclear and undefined and not very good at communicating it. And it could just be solved by showing us what happened. Like,
flashbacks are good. Knowing this game, it'd be a little threatening. I feel like the game would threaten to do what it did with homophobia, which is that they'd have the flashback about the thing they want to establish right now, right before it's about to be irrelevant in the plot every time, like via psychic magic, as opposed to nesting it earlier on or throughout. But like, yeah, like famously, like the flashbacks with like Lynn and Sydney, for example, are a great way of like actually digging into like shit that was going down in that setting. And like, but even before any flashbacks exist in Echo, for example, like you're coming in with it's Chase driving in with TJ and God, I'm bad at names today. What the fuck is wrong with me? It took a while to remember Sydney too. Jenna and TJ are coming back with Chase from college, so it's like, okay, they're coming back to their old hometown. That inherently means that they were gone for some period of time. They're revisiting with old friends, and you realize, oh, these people have a dynamic, and they have a different dynamics with different people. But then you have like this thing with Chase, this thing with Leo, this confrontation of like old baggage, and like the entire point of the opening chapters is to establish the dynamic between the different characters, both how they were and how they are, and what that difference is. And in a similar way, we have a character group we have an older friend group between Dave and Orlando and Roswell that's akin to what you would see from like Chase, Jenna, and Leo when they hung out younger before they met the rest of the characters. And then there's like an order in which people were added over time. And there's a dynamic to have here where like, oh, Tyson is a character that's in both eras of Friends, but in different ways. He was the antagonist originally, and then he became close with Dave over time. But then like, that's like the only dynamic we have a good feel over. Like we know Tyson was their bully once upon a time, and then became Dave's like brother via family stuff and everything, because he's the most developed character in the game, even when we weren't in his route. And then we know that Roswell hung out with them as kids, but then left for some indeterminate amount of time, and that he's dying. I don't know what Orlando has done since then, if they were presumably hanging out still. And then like Haas and Dean and Sal just show up at some point. And like, even playing Sal's route, the most we know is that Sal showed up at the gym and Dave met him there outside of school, and that's still not actually a dynamic. Like, we don't know how, it doesn't give us an idea of how well Sal knows Orlando or Roswell, or whether or not this friend group knows each other at all. We get like 2 lines that say that Sal and Dean are friends and that they bowl, apparently, really late in the story. And that's about it. But like, we don't, because these characters don't interact and we don't have an idea of their backstory or how they were before, we just have, oh my fuck, sorry, just caught up with this. You can see the stock image watermark.
Oh my god.
There's a stock image
Is that
watermark.
what all the blurs are on the screen?
There are just weird smears everywhere, but you can still see
I
some
thought that
things.
was water drops on the camera lens, but now that you mention that, it's watermarks.
There on the left side of the screen, it says something stock.
Yep, and that's exactly where a blur line is. They're stealing stock photos. What?
Oh yeah, I can see another stock text on the right side of the screen, perpendicular to the hedge, but it's really faint because there's like a
So
like,
all the things this whole time I was thinking were
why didn't they blur the human heads?
Yeah, why didn't they blur the human heads? I'm gonna post about this. This is bad.
Why didn't they? I'm sorry. Why didn't they blur the human heads if they're gonna blur all the stock image text but not enough of it? Oh wow. I'm sorry. We've played this game a lot. I've never spotted. Yeah, there's more on the far left, in the middle left of the screen. It says stock again. Why is it partially blurred? Yeah, there's just, if you look at it, there's like a plaid like grid of blur lines across the screen that match up with the stock image things. Huh. Why not use a different image? There's a lot of hedge mazes. Maybe, or like visit a hedge maze and take photos or something. I don't know. I don't know why you'd be so attached to this image of a hedge maze out of all the ones in the world that you would put the effort in to blur out the stock image text, which is probably ethically iffy on some level.
This is explicitly stealing. This is explicitly stealing. We are now playing a game that people paid for, where the backgrounds are stolen stock photos. This is getting to the territory of me criticizing this game and it's just really sloppy construction transcends simple negligence and now is actually someone deliberately being malicious. This is bad. They need to fix this. They can't sell this legally. This is not okay.
I assume the plan is not to sell. I assume that if they're gonna put it on Switch ever, if that ever happens, that they're not gonna have images like this in the game.
These all have to be different, but specifically,
I'm hoping they eventually
saying,
draw backgrounds that resemble the text, because the quote-unquote wooden shack is like more expensive than anything I'll ever own.
Like,
that was a beautiful space.
Completely. I mean, and I'm not here to criticize. If you want to use placeholder backgrounds, I've done it before. Like, I get it. It's just, I think it's very funny that the malicious aspect of this is like,
once it's being actively blurred out,
specifically blurred it out. Yeah.
I just
I don't know.
Steal a hedge maze photo and grayscale it that isn't stock, but also like it's so it's so badly censored. Like there's blur lines across the middle, bottom to the top right. That's just explicitly blurring. But then like some of these things that are happening, like the first one I noticed is the one on the middle left, and that one is a big dark smudge that then just ends and then reveals the word stock, and only the word stock. But very clearly once you spot it, it's just there. And like, why doesn't it cover the whole word stock? Or like, why isn't it like, how did it? It's just very sloppily done. And once you see the smudges for what they are, you're like, oh, I guess I just never looked at the screen for that long compared to like, I very much noticed the weird blurs on the middle of the maze picture, but I was like, oh, it's like water droplets in the camera or something in this particular location. Like this, it's like, that felt almost aesthetic in the other one, but now I'm gonna have to take a closer look at it when we see it again and see.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for that revelation to just notice the word
me
stock.
neither. Yeah, and you can see the other stock photo. I can see it now that I'm looking at all these blurs. Sometimes it comes through. You can see the one on the right too, the right center of the screen.
Yeah,
where the text isn't fully gone.
Yeah, I see. It's perpendicular to the hedge on the middle right, and then on the far left, on the edge of the screen, you can see another stock. It's like only the outlines of the letters. So there's at least 3 instances of the word stock here. Can't tell what the name of the company is exactly, but yeah, it's On the way home, it was different though. Where I'd led, and he'd stick behind me. Where I'd lead and he'd stick behind me until we got to mine. Then he'd double back to his place a few doors down. Ty? You're telling me that Tyson's poor? But he lives a few doors down from that house we keep being shown. That doesn't compute. That's an upsettingly expensive house. That never closes its front door because it's in a great neighborhood, apparently. What? You sure you know where we're going? Yeah, why? No reason, just checking. Almost as if helping my point, Dean wailing for some help finding his way rang clear over the walls of the maze. Haas's voice echoed soon after, telling him to just keep going and stay calm. When have I ever led you astray, pup? I stared hard into the back of Ty's skull until he turned back to look at me, quirking a brow upon noticing my expression. Really? Think back. As Ty returned my stare, I started to think back, seeing it as a challenge. I was expecting to think of something immediately, but Ty's grin was throwing me off. He knew I was finding it difficult, and was now just waiting for me to admit I was wrong. What's wrong, pup? Don't want to admit I'm right? No, that's not... Just give me another minute. Just give me a minute. I continued to think, but was drawing a blank. He was right. Everything that I thought of turned out to be him shouldering the burden of any wrongdoing in case things went off. And the few times that I'd asked his opinion on something, he'd flat out said that he didn't know, or that didn't matter. All in all, Ty was reliable. A jerk, but reliable. Okay, you win. See? Was that so hard? I whined, defeated, slinking forward a couple more paces, expecting Ty to already be moving. Instead, with my head hung, I bumped into his front. Oh! As I recoiled from bumping into him, going to move away and follow up with an apology, Ty held me carefully in place with a hand on my back of my head. Look, you trust me, yeah? I'm not gonna get us lost. Here, just... if it'll make you feel better, just hold on to my top or something so we don't get separated. That was when Ty pulled away, expecting me to just decide for myself what I wanted to do. Grab his tail? Grab his hand? Sizing up my options, there seemed to be one option that made the most sense. I took a few quick steps forward before taking Ty's hand. He stopped in his tracks, eyes forward, ears straight up. I looked up at him, confused. No homo. Ty? Yeah? Is this okay? Yeah, it's fine, I guess. Whatever. I felt him give my hand a slight squeeze as if affirming it, that I was in fact holding his hand. I can only remember a few times where we'd held hands, and that was typically just so he could drag me along somewhere. Alright, let's get going, pup. We continued wandering, with sounds of Dean's wailing filling the silence. I kept stealing glances up at Ty, who had his eyes trained forward, seemingly walking a memorized path rather than sniffing his way forward. Eventually, Ty led me to a spot, pulling his hand free. Alright, let me just see if it's still here. Sure, okay. Ty got down onto his hands and knees, digging around in the soil near one of the walls. Ty? What? What are you doing? Like, I thought we weren't digging. I just stashed something here, that's all. So out of the way? Yeah. If this is one of the metals, you were just going to leave it out here? Yep. That's sort of a dick move, Ty. Why? I didn't know what it was when I found it. Didn't look all that valuable. Besides, I would have let you know, pup. Okay, but you could have just stashed it in your room. Now you're on the ground, sniffing around like... Ty turned to me, glaring me down again. Say it, and you'll regret it. May like ya, You don't get off calling me a dog either, pup. Okay. We went back to rummaging, grumbling as he did so. I sheepishly stood in place, thinking back to the last time I'd accidentally called him a dog. Not long after, Ty pulled what appeared to be half of a metal disc. It's half of something? Hey, we actually know about this. It's the other half of the metal that's apparently in the wooden shack, I guess? Look enough like one of those metals? I guess, but why is there only half? Does this count as what we were meant to be looking for? Ty handed it over, and I ran my fingers over the rusted surface, but it was hard to tell if it was rust, dirt, or just something else. It was hard to make out any sort of design on the surface, maybe a line at best, but it wasn't enough to identify it as a zodiac sign. If it doesn't turn out to be one of those...
Is it just the other half of the Sagittarius medal that Florencia gave us?
Yeah, no. She gave us a whole medal. We got half a medal from the wooden shack when we were sneaking out. Because Ty bafflingly... Okay, correctly...
Oh, you're right. I did get them mixed up.
He reasonably found a knife, and bafflingly somehow found and thought to care about half of a medal, despite not understanding what it's for, and it never being mentioned again once again. But that's where that one is, I guess. If it doesn't turn out to be one of the medals, I'll just hawk it for the cash when we get back. Why do you hide it here? Okay. Is it just a piece of metal? Metal can be worth a bit. Need to know what it's worth if you're gonna trade it to a scrapyard or a pawn shop. Look at this beautiful diamond. Well, diamond would still be worth a lot, but... Do I want to know what you've been up to? Probably not. Either way, take it with you just in case. If it turns out to not be what you're after, you can always just give it back. Well, I held the piece of metal out for Tyson to take back. Maybe you should hold on to it. I'll probably just lose it. Tyson shrugged and shoved the piece of metal into his pants. He had pockets, but had opted not to use them, almost as if they were full already. You would know if his basketball shorts were full. So what now? I guess we keep searching the maze. Sounds like Dean is still lost at least, so we wouldn't be the last ones to reach the middle. Ty seemed to think about it for a bit before shaking his head. Nah, you can keep searching, but I have something I want to do instead. Like what? Wouldn't you like to know? Maybe I'll just hit the gym. I gave Ty a look, earning me a shrug back. Go play with your friends. I'll be around later. I'll bring you back to the start. I'll bring you back to the start though, so you don't end up like the bear. Oh, Ty took the initiative on taking my hand in his, leading me through the maze once more. We wandered in silence, my grip on Ty's hand tightening slightly. Ty gave me my hand a squeeze back, I'm falling apart. Wow. Stopping shy of presumably one of the final turns in the maze. You gonna be good? Yeah. Why? Well, it's just you clung to me like you were going to die if you lost track of me in this maze that you're now gonna walk back in without me, so... Ty searched my face for an answer and seemingly found it. Turning back to face the way we were going. Just making sure. Are you gonna be good? Yeah, I'll be fine. I'm wondering if I just like degrade the more I like marathon read because we're like bulk reading a bit here compared to normal. Welcome back, nerds. Brief interruption, but this is a chance to show. Stop slide showing. There it goes back. Now that we're in the Tyson route, there's a Tyson route screen. I don't... What is that?
It's a hook.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's it? What is it for? Like
Give me a second.
Like a hook weapon.
I'm checking something. Okay, it's not the thing that I thought.
Does everyone have a special themed weapon? Were these weapons meant to come up at some point? Does this one ever come up in the game? Taking bets now, everybody. Every single one of you, leave in the comments. Will this hook show up in the story?
Probably not.
A cannonball. Oh, that is funny. Yeah. Toaster sent
Not
me
the same.
A hook guy. Yeah. But it's a striking visual. Anyway, now we're blue instead of green, which honestly an improvement. Before we exited the maze, Ty violently pulled his hand free of mine. Violently? Head darting around the place. I sighed, finding myself having enjoyed holding Ty's hand more than I should have. He's a homophobe. Now we know. Well, catch you later, pup. Wait, Ty, before you go. What? Thanks. No props. See ya. Just don't want to be seen holding your hand in public, and by public I mean with our closest friends. which is not much of a standard, I guess. I watched as he headed back to the back of the mansion, right up until he disappeared back inside. He didn't look back once. Is this a... Is he pranking me? Am I being pranked right now? It's 4 backs. Okay. As I was standing there, I buried my hands into the pouch of my hoodie with a sigh.
Oh, Dave, did you get lost?
Huh? Oh, no, just taking a break, I guess.
Oh, me too. Turns out navigating that maze was a little bit more difficult than I'd expected.
There's not really any way of navigating in there, is there? North, south, east, west?
Not really, no. It's a lot bigger than I gave it credit for.
Dean's wails echoed again, punctuating Roswell's point. It didn't take long before we'd all assembled back in front of the maze, with Orlando needing to go back in to retrieve Dean. We headed back towards the mansion, a mixed bag of how people felt that went.
Shame that bout of fun is over.
It's strange that the narration didn't say who got the medal. Sorry, but you can't best me at mazes. As if to prove the point further, Orlando flashed the medallion he'd gotten from in the middle of the maze. The exact route he took to get there, he didn't quite know. But the important thing was that the medal was found. And I don't know why I looked back at the mansion, wondering what Ty was up to. Or even what he'd found was another of the medals. Or even if what he'd found was another one of the medals. I figured I may as well keep that to myself for now until I was sure. What? Why? Anyway.
I was thinking about heading into the woods to look for mushrooms, but I want to take a break first anyway.
I still don't understand.
Company.
I still don't understand why he wanted to look for this. This is like another big thing. Is like clearly he has an ulterior motive or something, but I still just don't understand even the idea of like if you, me, and Andrew were hanging out, Andrew, and Marty were hanging out at Marty's place, and then we all played a board game, and then Andrew was like, I think I'm gonna go forage for mushrooms in the woods. Yeah. I'd be like, what are you doing?
Go look for mushrooms. I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Just a normal behavior to make? I guess it's just like, I'm a pig. People do animal things in this animal universe, but Tyson can eat chocolate and likes chocolate.
Yep.
Although Stephanie was claiming that like the poisonous to dogs chocolate thing is like overstated, I guess.
Yeah.
Or I guess at least for not tiny dogs, like it'd be relatively hard for them to actually poison themselves all that bad. Like I guess like Kiki has just like stolen chocolate before and just it didn't ever matter.
Yeah, I mean it's not gonna instantly kill a dog. It's just not good for them.
They like don't even necessarily like throw it up. But don't test that on my behalf, audience. Let's see. I believe we don't have a password yet, and I don't know if we will. This might be this. Let's check. Nope, it's not Dreamer yet.
Were there other passwords? I wish I still had my notes. I deleted them when I thought the game stopped caring about them.
That was oddly surreal seeing that again. I totally forgot this was a CG. This was the image that did this to us.
Yeah, I know.
This image was the one in the Patreon poll and led to this outcome because it looks like, oh, look, it's like a puzzle game. In fact, people might have even clocked that like, oh, it's a visual novel, but that looks like a puzzle game too, is like Zero Escape. And no one knew how true that would be. The extent to which that turned out to be. Roswell's kind of jacked.
Yeah.
Look at them curves and that shading. Anyway, I forgot about that CG because it had only happened once. There's some of the CGs point to an ambition to have so many CGs, which would be impressive if there was just more to show, because it is usually people staring off in a direction, being pensive. Let's see. This is the confusing thing where he gets knocked out. I don't know why it's saying that this is new, but it's not really new. It's being inappropriate and he knocks him out. Yeah, I don't know why this is flagged as not being new. Don't generally have company, but it's good for some alone time. Oh. What, he's saying that italicized? Because he's out at night, apparently. Also a good time to work out. Or just take a walk. Why do I get the impression that it's not just a walk? Ever hook up in public? Oh! This is pretty upfront compared to the other routes.
You know, like brothers do.
Oh, why do they have to call each other brothers all the time in the other routes? Wait, what? Well, that or random bouts of vandalism, tipping over trash cans and whatever. That's very different direction to take things in. Seriously? Priorities change, pup. Haven't done one of them in a fair while. Which one? Wouldn't you like to know? Well, I'm gonna go back to bed. Bye-bye. If it weren't so late, I'd bring you back to my room, but I ain't setting up another bed for you to sleep in. Another bed? Such a gentleman. Bitch, I'm plenty gentleman. Anyway, at night. That's the hornier version of a scene that happens no matter what still. He has a cough and there's a question of whether he needs medicine or tea. Probably medicine? Anyway. Oh, hey, Tyson. Wait, where's your shirt? We're on day 5 now. Eh? Took it off. Well, sure, but why? What, am I not allowed? I'm not saying that. So you do want me shirtless. Imagine what Dean would say. Hey, that's not very fair. Sure. Fair. What do you two even have in common? You two haven't fucked, I bet. Only reason he's still around, I'm guessing. Oh, boy. Well, this is a very different tone than Sal. Whoa. Dude, what the hell? What? This is also more insight into Dean's relationship with Dave than we maybe got in an entire playthrough. Dean and I have plenty in common. Thanks. What's your deal? My deal? Nothing. Forget about it. I'm sorry. Something was up, but I couldn't quite place my hand on it. Still, Tyson apologizing was out of character, so perhaps it was better to just move on with the conversation. Alright, well, what are you gonna do now that you're shirtless? Like it's an order of operations. Dunno. What are you gonna be doing? I haven't given it much thought after Roswell turned up. Oh yeah? What's up with him anyway? Apparently spent the last night in the woods. Got pretty sick. No shit? Huh. Well, that's pretty reckless. Doesn't strike me as the outdoorsy type. Well, no. You're right there. Oh, you're right there. That's what he means, for cadence-wise. As far as I remember, he's been a nerd forever. Well, at least before he moved away. Returned just as much of one, though. This is also more insight than, I mean, it's not like we need to discover these facts about Roswell, but the fact that Tyson talks about other characters is very helpful compared to Sal, who gives you nothing. Hey, if Roswell's a nerd, I was just as bad, right? Nah, you were cool.
No. What?
Dave
is the least cool person I have ever met. Don't lie to the audience.
He has in fact never been cool and definitely was bullied for a reason. I began thinking back to what we were like as kids. You're not gonna go all spacey while you stand there, are you? Huh? Come on, pup, upstairs. Then you can go do your zoning thing out. What? Your zoning out thing without looking like a freak in the middle of the foyer. I don't like that the game taunted us with the idea of actually showing us a scene from them being kids and then just didn't do it, because the irony is the game kind of really needs to actually have scenes like that. I'm like, please? Tyson led the way back upstairs to his room, diving onto his bed and bouncing onto his back, reclining and getting comfortable. Alright, go on. You're good now. I sat on the edge of his bed, thinking back to what school was like. Roswell and I had been friends for as long as I could remember. Even went to the same school together. It's a different wolf? Mysterious third wolf? Move it, loser! I'm a child. This is a child's voice. I shivered, thinking back to just how bad Tyson was. Okay, it's Tyson. Why did you say that way? Move it, loser. I shivered, thinking back to just how bad Tyson was back then. He was the epitome of a school bully in the most violent of ways. It was everything from shoving to hitting other kids, resulting in being forced to stay inside while the others went out to play. There might have been a suspension or two. When Roswell moved away, Tyson's favorite target was gone, so his attention seemed to drift around a few others. Oi, give me your lunch money. He's one of those kids that seemed to grow faster than the others, and was just a little bit stronger, a little more headstrong, and otherwise just intimidating to be around. Sorry, I wasn't ready for a new Tyson sprite.
Yeah.
Oh, look how try-hard it looks. Look at this guy.
His Organization 13 coat that he's cut off at the waist.
Oh my god. Oh my god,
Yeah.
That is Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
This fucking high schooler. Stebbins High School. It's a real place. Stebbins High School. Hey, kid.
Walter E. Stebbins High School. I went to Google it and it auto-completed, so I mean it is a place. It's in Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, we can place this now. This whole game takes place in Ohio. That's
how depressing.
I'm dubious. It's
Oh yeah,
Ohio,
this is
isn't it?
literally just a picture from Wikipedia. This is the picture of the high school on Wikipedia.
Hey. What I'm confused by is that it sounds like Dave and Roswell were friends like a while ago. And then a bunch of time passed. And Tyson's changed now. So I kind of thought middle school, not high school. I guess high school feels like forever when you're in it. It feels like those 4 years are a lifetime of experience and so on, but having like somebody who's been doing this and like even just doing this for 13 years, I'm like, ha, high school being 4 years, that's really funny. So maybe you have whole character arcs over the course of fucking junior year.
Yeah.
And while Roswell's gone and everything changes. Hey kid. Who? Me? Yeah, you. Hand over your lunch money. Also, this game has flashbacks apparently. Sorry, I just caught up with that fact.
Yeah.
We had dreams of our dad that were partially real, but not entirely. But like the idea that we could just have flashbacks setting. Well, yeah, we did have like one flashback with Sal of meeting.
Yeah,
him in the rain.
there's tons of moments that. No, that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah,
is that you're allowed to have flashbacks. The game has them, which means the choice to just leave some stuff unexplained was a intentional choice.
Yeah,
that just doesn't work.
I lost track of things because there hasn't been a flashback in so long that like I forgot they ever happened. But yeah, there was a Sal flashback. There probably is at least a flashback in every route of that character's history a bit. It just wow. So they weren't. It wasn't like a stylistic choice to avoid covering stuff from the past. It's just been 4 months, so I forgot it ever happened. I almost wonder if it's like a thing that the author was more inclined to do back when he was writing these days, and then didn't want to do them anymore. Even because when you think about the parts of the game being written in entirely different years, it's a stupid detail, but I just always think back to Ad Astra having that quirk of the lingua failing and various characters shouting Oedipal instead of it being translated, and that happening for about 1 or 2 updates at the beginning and then never again. Like after the first few scenes, that entire quirk is dropped and forgotten. It's just like a thing that happens when you write a long story. Yeah, you hand over your lunch money or I'll do other generic bully lines. No! Any hesitation had to be upon you. He learned quick that going for your ears and pulling hard, or even just jabbing you right in the nose, worked a treat. There were many kids that I remembered ending up a crying mess on the floor before he got what he wanted. And he walked off afterwards as if nothing had happened. But while Tyson and I had interacted to some extent quite young, it wasn't until high school that we really started talking. I remember it being a fairly big deal, too. Some sort of scuffle between one of the rich kids and him apparently ended up with the parents getting involved. Oh, crying Tyson! We've never seen this before. It's a little strange because his head didn't move. It's a little hard to sell this on this specific head, I think. Roswell can cry without a different pose, but I feel like he might have to lean forward a bit.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Rumor had it that he'd hospitalized the kid and was looking at expulsion, at least as far as what Orlando had let me in on him. I found him sitting around the back of the school when I was getting ready to head home. He looked like a mess. Dad is going to kill me. I had to admit, seeing Tyson as miserable as he'd made me wasn't as enjoyable as I'd thought it'd be. He'd clearly been crying and tugging at his fur. I was almost scared about what would happen if I approached. I must have been nuts walking up to him in such a state. No sooner had I taken my first step that he'd gotten to his feet, snarling, but I approached until I was close enough to just be out of arm's reach. Are you okay? He looked me over, eyes narrowing as he did so. You try to take the piss? I'll beat your face in if you think you're being funny. No, you just, you look miserable. Fuck you. You don't know what you think you saw. Just get out of here. I'm not in the mood. Is this about those rumors? Are you getting expelled or something? None of your fucking business. Okay, well, if you're sure. I figured it'd be best to leave while he was giving me the chance and bailed. I didn't see him again until later that evening. He looked like a wreck, fur even more disheveled than when I had seen him at school. Having him just look like current self was a surprise. I thought that was meant to convey a younger him. I think it is. He doesn't have an earring. Yeah. But now he has an earring.
Now he has an earring.
I don't know why they switched to the modern day sprite, because it doesn't seem like it matches. Yeah. It looked like the both of us had decided to go for an after dinner walk. I must have held his attention for too long, and he made a beeline to me and shoved me. Hey, what was that for? You better not have squealed about how you saw me at school. What? No, of course not. Good. What I hadn't told him is that Orlando had called me after I'd gotten home and told me what might have happened. So, that thing at school? You looking to start something? No, just... It's not true, is it? That you're getting expelled? What do you think? Been on my last strike for a while now. At this stage, I don't even care. Already got my beating from Dad, so may as well just let it happen now. Beating? And suddenly what I'd heard him say, and his appearance now made sense. Tyson didn't even say anything in response. Just gave him a long, hard stare. Oh. Don't worry about it. Apparently the rich kid Tyson had bullied was a family friend of Orlando's, belonging to another wealthy dragon family.
That's not good. That means that Tyson beat up someone who was probably the son of a mob boss.
That sounds incredibly dangerous, yes.
Yeah, that just seems like maybe that kid also is kind of a shitty rich kid. They ever considered that?
Turns out Orlando's dad had enough of his son being bullied and called in a favor.
That doesn't line up with anything we know about Memphis.
Orlando's dad was tired of Orlando being bullied, so he called in a favor. Even though
maybe
Tyson
it's the
bullied
his son, as in the other wealthy dragon family's son.
It's confusing because it says he bullied someone else, not Orlando. But then
Yes,
Orlando's dad was tired of him bullying his son?
I'm saying the his there is Orlando's dad's friend, not Orlando's dad.
That's
very weird. Yes, you are correct.
But it's also another dragon family. It's so that's... Yeah, the connections between those sentences don't line up for me at all. So, what? I think I might be able to get you out of trouble, maybe. No shit? I mean, the kid's parents have it out for you from what I've been told. Well, great. No, they don't. Orlando's parents do, according to the last sentence that we just read, right? Right? It was still Memphis, right?
Yeah, it's talking about Memphis.
Yeah. Unless the favor was that Orlando's dad put a hit on the other dragon kid, and the hit was Tyson.
No.
That's the only way I can interpret that sentence to make sense.
No, I think what it's saying is, like, to rephrase it, Tyson had bullied the kid of a wealthy dragon mob member. Orlando's dad, Memphis, was irritated enough by how that happened that he called in a favor to the school to get Tyson expelled for bullying the son of one of his subordinates. I think that's what it's saying.
So then Dave's solution is going to be to confront the head of the mafia to get Tyson off the hook?
Yeah, again, I don't know what the fuck this means, because Dave doesn't really know Memphis by the time he shows up in the story, so it's just another yet another weird thing. Yeah, and as far as we know, Memphis has hated Orlando for a long time, so I don't really get how this works at all. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we're at least already in high school, so I don't know, like, what connection they're gonna have.
And it's confusing because even earlier it made it seem like Tyson's bullying was a thing that happened even earlier than early high school. So...
Yeah, this is remaining very rough. We're like... Normally, when a story comes together well, when you go back and find new details that, like, we know weren't mandatory before maybe, but now, like, wow, I'm getting all this new context for this character or something. It slots in, and you're like, oh, wow, yeah, that fits there, and this all makes sense, and I'm learning more. Instead, it feels contradictory to both statements surrounding it and the larger picture we have around the game, to the point where I'm like, I don't know what... I'm doing the opposite of learning. I'm getting a bunch of disparate information that can't exist at the same time, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Or I just don't have enough to grasp, so that there's still, like, I'm getting new puzzle pieces, but instead of slotting into, like, a existing grid of pieces I've put together, they're still just free-floating pieces. They're not even corners, not even walls. You're just like, let's put this somewhere. I don't know. When did Roswell leave? How long ago was it? Which part? What's the timeline for high school here? How old is everybody? All these details you need to figure out. Well, great. But I can try and explain it to the principal tomorrow on one condition. What are you gonna do? Explain to the principal that Tyson was fired, was exposed by the mafia?
It was gonna go, Tyson was having a hard time and is an abusive relationship. Telling the truth like this will always result in positive effects. Don't you have all of this sympathy over this? See, we could have solved the problem.
But Dave supposedly knows that the strings were pulled by the mafia. So why would you, how does talking to the
Does
principal
he
work?
actually know that, or is he saying that from the perspective of someone in the future, as in now? I still don't understand.
The idea that the blue text is just not from Dave, so it's just like actively.
I think it's modern Dave.
It's like
I'm not sure.
Anti-informative in terms of like figuring out what's going on. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's from Dave, but I think it's from Dave. It's not diegetic.
Yeah,
it's
him thinking back, but it's him presenting
Yes.
information out of order, so it's not helpful for understanding what he's doing in the story.
Exactly. And like the other thing that's confusing about this is just that, again, Dave seems to be completely confused and shocked that Orlando's dad is a literal mob boss criminal in the B route, which, even from where we are in the story right now, has not been revealed yet in the A route. So I don't know how he knows
I
this.
sincerely don't know. Did we ever learn that Memphis was the mafia in a scene where people were all learning that? Or did it just start getting mentioned at some point as a thing that everyone always knew?
No, it was mentioned as a like, Orlando's dad, he's kind of shady, isn't he? And they're like, yeah. And then Orlando's like, organized crime. And people reacted to that. People were like, what? The Dragon Mafia? I think they all knew he was a bad dude. I think they didn't realize he was a mob boss, though.
Yeah, I don't know. Let us know comments. I have no fucking clue. I feel like it was
it's
just
been 40 years since we got that stuff, so.
But I feel like it just started being mentioned one day as a thing that everybody always known, but because that's just how this game handles information, is that everybody knows tons of stuff and each other and so on, but we'll never get a clear explanation for most of it, and to the point where like akin to like not knowing who didn't know Dave's dad was dead. You're like, I don't. Who is this a revelation?
Maybe I'm wrong.
Who is this news for?
Maybe I just don't remember.
I don't remember like a single scene that was actually about Orlando's dad being in the
it wasn't
mafia.
a scene about that. It was a scene where it was dropped and then characters were like, wait, what? He's actually a criminal? That's insane. Like, I remember very specifically them talking about crime and people responding to that shocked. I don't know if the scene was literally, we are establishing Memphis. I think they were sitting at the dinner table arguing about other things. But
it seems like an incredibly important plot point, given that it's the entire climax of the game and the villain of the story. But yeah, I sincerely can't tell you, audience, whether or not it was even a thing everyone knew going in or not. I genuinely can't tell you that about the villain of the game.
Yeah. I think it happened maybe when it was like, what's his name? Benson talking to people about these things and being like, well, Memphis was involved and that's why Orlando has the dream power or whatever. And Dave was like, why? Why would Memphis be involved? And Benson was like, organized crime? And they were like, what? I'm pretty sure that's how it went down, but I can't remember.
It was definitely mentioned in that scene, but I don't know if it was news to them.
I just feel like Dave was very shocked by, I read it as news. In my understanding,
Dave being like, but crime is bad.
Yeah.
And bad things are bad.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just as far as I understood it, maybe they all knew that Orlando's dad, and Orlando's like, he had a bad relationship with his dad and his dad was kind of an asshole, but I didn't realize, or at least the way it came across to me is that they were all shocked when it came out that like, yeah, he's actually a criminal, and the only people that seemed to know about that were like Orlando and maybe Haas and Sal. But like, yeah, I don't think everyone knows.
I'm not gonna check. At least not in the game. That'd be so much harder. It's so much harder to check in game than the videos. I don't know what day that was. Shit. But I can try and explain to the principal tomorrow on one condition. You fucker, what do you want? I want a free pass. You don't come after me. I stay out of your way.
What?
What's stopping me from just beating the information out of you? You don't even know if it's information. It's just like pulls or... I said I was going to explain it to the principal. How is that... I'm a character witness or something, right? Well, we're in public for one. And I could just let you get expelled.
And what information is he going to give to the principal that would... What do you think? You're going to beat the information out of him and then go, hey, principal, it is me, the kid who you are expelling. I have new information about the event that will absolve me. That doesn't make any sense.
Unless the information is the mob stuff. But if that is the information, one, I don't know.
That's not going to change anything. That just means that the
I don't think you
principal
should be
is corrupt.
Yeah, like one, I don't think you should be narking on the mob, but two, aren't you just trying to quote unquote talk to the person who is the person the mob told to expel Tyson?
Yeah,
and that means
exactly.
You can't fix it. Fine, deal. Maybe you're a little cool, but only a little. The next day, I had to forcibly drag Orlando to the principal's office to verify my story, although he was none too happy about it. No, you can't just end the scene there because none of the details made sense, and we needed to see what that conversation was to understand what the fuck you meant was gonna happen. You dragged Orlando to explain that the mob is mad at him being Orlando specifically being bullied by Tyson? Is that what they went to explain? I don't know what this scene was meant to accomplish. I don't understand. I was about to say, up until that point, I was about to say, like, oh, admittedly, the Sal stuff gave us kind of, like, new stuff to work with, whereas up until now, the Tyson scene, the flashback, was literally just, like, the generic storyline of you getting to know a bully and befriending them, like the boilerplate example, like, it was, like, stenciled. But then it suddenly had the most complicated plot at the very end, and then didn't resolve it, and I don't know what it means. Are we gonna find out that Orlando was... like his dad hates him because he narked on him to the principal for Tyson? Is that why? Is that the difference between now when he apparently will defend his son and later when he doesn't? Is he turned on him then?
Yeah.
Like you should not be telling on the mafia to the principal. Children should not be getting involved in this. This is a bad idea. You done being a dork? Yeah. Just thinking back to that time I saved your ass from being expelled. Which one? The first one? Can't say I remember. I never had to carry my books to class from then on, at least. It was just weight training. And you waiting for me by my locker was adorable too.
Oh, wait, I thought the agreement of the plan was explicitly you stay out of my way, I stay out of yours.
Yeah. Although I guess it was just...
I mean, I understand that what it's saying is like, but we became friends, exactly.
I guess the deal was specifically Dave stays out of Tyson's way. Tyson doesn't beat up Dave anymore. It was asymmetrical deal of Tyson doesn't bully him anymore. And instead he's like, he got smitten.
It's just, yeah. I don't know.
How else was I going to get my pre-class gains? Oh, right. Which is why you also lingered, so you could walk home together. Dude, we live on the same street. Which, once again, the narrative here is you're supposed to come from different socioeconomic backgrounds, so I don't know how you live on the same street. Like
I don't know. Kids can be abused in any socioeconomic class. We'll just say that that's the reasoning.
Yeah, I could have sworn that Tyson was specifically explained to have be not in a wealthy family.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
I cannot accept the idea that Dave is anything other than a wealthy family. Because what the fuck is that household?
Dave is lower middle class. His mom is a doctor and his dad is a cop.
Yeah.
Lower middle class.
Yeah, lower middle sitcom class. 80s sitcom lower middle class, where you have a giant film studio sized apartment. Nobody knows what I turned and pinched my cheeks, razzing him further. Nah, and here I thought you liked following me around
like a puppy.
Like a puppy. The interruption thing drives me crazy when I have to read it. He'd grabbed and flipped me over so fast my head was spinning. Oh, whoa. He had one hand pinning my wrists together, the other one holding me by the neck. Oh, whoa.
He's done Aikido. He's getting you.
Let me make one thing clear, pup. Between you and me, I'm the alpha. Oh, call me puppy again. And trust me, you'll find out the hard way where you stand on the pecking order.
Well, to be clear, Dave is just, he is absolutely a beta. So, I mean, I guess there's no arguing with this logic.
Well, this is wildly different characterization for Tyson than we got from the game we already beat. That's a lot. That was a lot. That was a lot. That was a lot. That was some Omegaverse shit. What the fuck is happening? Tyson let me get back up, arm around my shoulder while he checked his phone. This is calling into doubt the entire concept of Dave ever saying Tyson changed if he's being that physically aggressive over a word. It wasn't the first time he'd pinned me down like that, oh, and it wasn't the first time I'd razzed him about being a puppy. It was honestly in good fun. He learned where the boundaries were after the first time I kicked him in the balls when he went too far. Is that how I was supposed to read that? That was... The screen going black made it upsetting. There's like a few details there that made it seem way more aggressive. This... I guess if it was acted on screen or described differently, I don't know. That might have a better idea of the tone. Might go work out. Might take a nap. You want to do anything? You gonna say something?
No, I just I'm
Baffled.
just bewildered. I'm just bewildered.
Not sure what to
This
make
is
of
an
that
experience.
moment and what we're supposed to read it as. Are we supposed to read it as a character flaw, like Dave actually like is too permissive and just like dismissive of this problem, or is he? Or I wonder if we're supposed to take his word for it. Actually, like, no, Tyson's great. This is just how they play. Haha, just a little scary, a little upsetting. Nap sounds all right, actually. They're gonna nap together. Is that the implication? Yeah, they are. Okay. Once more, I was pulled down onto the bed, forced into being the little spoon. I'll set an alarm so we can get up for dinner. Could have napped on my own, you know. Oh, well, you can fuck off then if you want. After all the comments of not sharing a bed, the fact that they're familiar enough to spoon in bed is a surprise. Tyson began to push me off the bed, but I clung to whatever I could. Hey, wait, I take it back. Tyson did stop pushing, but shifted his hands down to my waist and pulled me back into his. Well, if we're gonna share the bed, you're gonna have to pay the price, pup. My way. Or at the very least, make it worth my while. Grumbling, I shifted back and resigned to being his little spoon. But the next moment, he vaulted over me, stripped down and wandered towards the bathroom. And take a shower. That's not usually what people mean when they say make it worth my while and pull you into their waist. He didn't bother looking back, instead opting to just give me a view of his ass as he disappeared into the adjoining bathroom. Next thing I remember is waking up to him laying next to me, playing on his phone just before it was time for dinner. Huh. That's a dynamic you can have, I suppose. Fast forward. Oop. Understandable given what he went through. I can only imagine how rough he must feel. Still, we'll make it up to him soon. We haven't even been here a week yet. We've got the rest of the month to go. Who to sit next to? Is Sal? Sal's gone. What happened?
He died.
Why is Sal listed and not an option? That didn't happen before, I don't think. And has never happened in any way? Ever? Being a grayed out option? That's interesting. Just don't know what's going on there. Hey, pup. Hey, the seat taken? Yep. Well, was anyway. You're there now, so I guess I'm stuck with you. I gave Ty a look and he just grinned back. Well, maybe I didn't want to sit next to a mutt like you anyway. Here we are. I caught the twitch of his tail. Well, well, the bitch has balls. Ty reached over and put me in a headlock, grinding a knuckle into my head. Hey, quit it. Say uncle.
The cute character trait of Tyson being mad about being called a dog when he's an actual fucking dog, but then still calling Dave like random dog names is very weird.
Yeah, it's a strange thing to navigate. I think he's supposed to be a wolf, but
He's a wolf.
yeah. He stopped, whispering in my ear in the most sickeningly teasing tone. No. Say daddy. Oh, okay. What? He ground his knuckle in, again, hard. Enough to make me cry out, just enough to draw attention from Dean at the very least. I think this is anime night. The first time they hang out, 5 days into the trip, as a group. He wasn't going to quit, so please stop. Say it. Daddy. He let go immediately, throwing his hands up as if completely innocent. I caught a glimpse of Dean, looking mortified over what happened. You'll be fine, pup. Tell me what sort of movie you want to watch while we wait on this food. Movie? I guess I'd be fine with whatever. What about you? Me? Action flicks are good, I guess. Can't go wrong with a good horror film, too. Horror? Really? Yeah. To be honest, I hope we get to watch one with Orlando in the room. I reckon he'd scream real good. I am flabbergasted. I am losing my mind a little bit. I know we're going fast forward, but we are still... Every scene we haven't seen before is playing, and we're reading them, so... I don't get their dynamic at all, which I felt that it felt like Dave and Tyson's dynamic was the most comprehensible in the entire game, basically, and that I figured had a feel for how they would be, but being in Tyson's route, he acts completely differently and extremely forward and extremely sexual and also like inappropriate in front of people and so on, but like specifically nothing's happened yet. Like, we have not had, like, explicit romantic interest in him. There hasn't been talks or, like, escalation to our relationship. It literally is like, we did the same scenes as before. Like, we talked about, we shared cake. Like brothers or whatever. What the gym scene happened the same way as the original one went. We're like, oh, I like the way you smell. So between that and hand holding in the maze, I guess. But even then, he was like talking about his dick before the hand holding, I think. And then now it's like, call me daddy and so on. And I'm like, this is, They sound way more involved here than before. But it only really makes sense if we assume they were already like this. But if they were already like this, then this behavior would have been noticeable in the other route, and it wasn't at all. Like, this is not how they interacted. There's like a very strong like chasteness to the idea of being like, he's my brother and so on. So it's interesting. Like, I could see the divergence in timelines where there's a person we're in one timeline. You think of them as a brother, and in a different timeline, you think of them as your sexual partner, and that's just a difference in choices and behaviors and your relationship developing as two different people. But I don't think the split has been justified, so it's wild how different the dynamic is. Like, it was just, I guess that's what happens when you just write a bunch of slotted in scenes that all play together in a sequence and then are just completely excised from other routes. So, because this has to be just how they are. Like, we haven't escalated this, so it just has to be what Tyson's like, but it's only in Tyson route scenes, so that's removed. So he's just a different character between the two routes. Like, it's not that we made different choices and have now reached a different point in our relationship with each other as a result. He just is a different person because these scenes weren't in the other routes. That's kind of wild. It does explain somewhat of what people are talking about, the idea that, like, oh, you just don't get that character because you haven't gotten their route scenes or whatever, and they make way more sense when you've seen them. But, like, the problem is that the non-route scenes and the route scenes seem to basically contradict each other in characterization. Like it doesn't grow and expand in a way that makes sense. It actively starts to feel contradictory, like it's just different people that were written as a result. So that's just another rough element. Like now that we're getting a glimpse at what people were talking about to justify this and defend the way it does this, I don't think it does what they say it does, is my takeaway right now.
Yeah.
What did I pick before? Horror, I think? Yep. I have such a good memory. Tyson had his arm over my shoulder, holding me close. As long as it's shit like this, I'm down. Visit the vault, or stay in bed. Is Tyson here? No, because we would have had new scenes. Let's visit the vault. Out of fear. Let's see, Sleeper? Nope. Angry beep. So much for that. Alright, so this is still not that one. This is also probably still a useless place to save, but oh well. Just in case. Because there could be new, since we're in a different route, for all we know, there might be new ones?
Mm-hmm.
Hey Dave, come with me and Haas. Day 6. We're just blazing. Huh? I'm helping him out, may as well show you the ropes too. Wait, why me? Well, fine. Don't come. See what I care.
Come on, Dave. Won't hurt you to learn something. Might be able to help me out in the future. You never know.
Okay, I'll come. If you're lucky, I'll let you have my singlet afterwards.
Should I be concerned?
It's a fair response. Nah, not yet at least. After we broke off to change into clothes more befitting working out, we met at the gym. Alright, so, anything in particular you want, or...
Dunno, do you think I should start doing weights right off the bat?
Sure.
Alrighty. They're
Alright,
best
Dave.
friends. They're best friends
This
now.
is how they become friends on day 6. Alright, Dave, you can spot him. Wait, why me? Yeah, or wait, me? Yeah, take it easy. Here, I'll show you. By spotting him. I followed Tyson over to the bench where Haas was already on his back, stretching his wrists. Alright, Haas, you take the bar, and Dave, just guide it. Just snap. It just slams down, snaps Haas's neck. Surprise! Password you didn't have last time. I don't have to pull or anything? No?
Spotter is the password.
Spotter.
This was stupid, I don't know.
That was one of the ones. That was one of the scenes that fucked with me a little bit. Was the there's a scene in Final Destination that has a weight that's based on a weight set, and it's like, huh? All right, well, don't like that. Don't like thinking about this. These things crushing people. Nope, just need to keep it level, and be ready to help him lift it all the way back if he's struggling. Oh, so I just stand at the end like this, right? Tyson only grumbled before grabbing me by the hips and pulling me back against him. This far back. Don't go dangling your sack over his face. Not everyone's into that. Oh, right. Sorry, Haas.
All good, buddy.
I'll tell you I'm by later. Without another word, Haas began lifting the bar up and down, and I felt like I was really only there for show with how he seemed to be managing. That said, Tyson didn't move from behind me and just left his hands on my hips, almost holding me against his front. I felt my cheeks burn, trying to keep myself focused on making sure the bar I was supporting didn't crush Haas. With one last push, Haas put the bar back up and sat up.
Woo, not a record, but that wasn't so bad.
Seemed to be doing alright to me. Yeah, form wasn't so bad. Do it enough times and you'll be unnatural.
Might give my arms a rest for a bit, though, and get on the treadmill. Welcome to join me if you want, Dave.
Dave specifically, not the other person in front of me. I know what I'm gonna do next, probably weights. Haas wandered over to the other side of the gym and stepped up on a treadmill and started messing with the controls. Tyson, on the other hand, lingered nearby, sizing up the weights bench. I mean, obviously Tyson. I turned away for only a second to see Tyson had taken off his singlet and was messing with the weights of the bar. We just don't have a like a view of singlet Tyson.
I guess not.
Listen, the Kingdom Hearts took priority.
Isn't the whole point of a singlet that it's hard to put on and off because it's just one piece of clothing?
Yes.
So he got real naked real quick and then managed to redress real quick.
He's like, maybe I'll give it to you afterwards, talking to a singlet, and then he took off his singlet and it's just his tank top being off. So I just don't know if they don't know what a singlet is.
Yeah,
because I don't know what do you mean you took off your singlet? The thing that covers your entire body and you're probably only wearing underwear or nothing under? Like, it's supposed to do the whole job, but itself. You can't take off a singlet, really. That's not, you're in public and he's presumably not naked, so I don't, is he just wrong about what a singlet is, maybe? Are you going to need someone to spot you for this too? That's why I brought you down here. Oh, okay. Then we're gonna see how well you do, Pop. Alright. Nervous? Only if you're expecting me to lift the same amount of weight as you. You do this way more often. Well, guess we'll just see how good you do after I'm done. I watched as Tyson laid down and grabbed the bar. I barely had any time to ready myself before he started lifting. By comparison to Haas, Tyson lifted the bar up and down methodically, with a strange sense of primal vigor. Are you alright? Fine. I flinched with how he growled out the words, not missing a beat. Come on, push me a little. Oh, verbally. I'm like, you don't think you're supposed to touch people. It's the question of whether or not you push on him.
You gotta neg him, that's how you get him to do stuff, yeah.
I didn't know I was spotting for a bitch. There was only the slightest pause in Tyson's rhythm as he upped the intensity, almost yelling out as he did so. A bitch, huh? What followed next was incoherent grunts, growls, and other sounds as Tyson continued to lift. I was half thankful that he was preoccupied with his workout to take out the insult on me directly. At some point he began to snarl, going with almost no sign of stopping to the point that Haas looked over from where he was to see if everything was okay. I think that means you just need more weight.
Mm-hmm.
I think the rule is that you're supposed to, the vague rule or something is the idea that you're supposed to lift a certain amount of weights that you could, where you'll like be hitting your personal maximum in like 10 reps. Because if it's too heavy, then you're like, it's useless. But if it's too light, then you're just wasting your time essentially.
Yeah.
So if anything, him going on for too long indicates he's bad at weightlifting, as far as I can tell. Eventually, with a little bit of help, Tyson put the bar back up, slumping back on the bench out of breath. So doing bench press is good? How did Dave graduate? You're about to find out. Your turn. Wait,
well,
really?
What do you... I'm confused now because he's like, doing bench press is good? Yeah. You're lifting weights. What the fuck is the question?
I sincerely don't know why he spoke and what that was supposed to mean. The frequency with which which Dave responds like, but stealing is bad, or just constantly being like, and that's good? Question mark. It's like he sincerely feels like an alien that has never existed in modern society before now.
Completely.
Yep, get on the bench and I'll spot you. So I did as I was told and watched as Tyson adjusted the weight, notably just removing some that he'd added on earlier. So, we're just gonna take this slow, yeah? Don't want you hurting yourself. Aw, how sweet. Yeah. Tyson took the bar and eased it down so I was holding the weight, and I began. Go at my own pace, because I'm a little baby. I only had 2 of them as role models on how to best this. I had only the 2 of them as role models on how best to do this. I'd seen it done before, but doing was another matter altogether. Just remember to keep your breathing even. I'll help you keep the timing right. I nodded and kept going. It was slow, but it seemed easy enough. I could probably do this again with more weight, but for now, this is alright. As Tyson helped me put the bar up, he shuffled closer his crotch right over my forehead. He shuffled closer, his crotch right over my forehead. Or he shuffled his crotch closer to my forehead. You gotta pick one of those. One has a lot more intent than the other one does, but this doesn't grammatically work. Hey, pup. Like the view down there? Okay, it's the intentional one. He adjusted himself, his groin almost brushing up against my nose. I decided to stay on the bench despite my cheeks starting to burn. If anything, the scent of him was strong. Real strong. And it was having an effect on me as well. I could barely make out Tyson looking over to Haas to see if the coast was clear before he grinned down at me. I could get used to seeing you like this. I got up, rolling away from Tyson, trying to keep my eyes elsewhere. Did they just decide to start doing this on this trip? Almost unprompted?
Yeah, I don't know.
It seems like this is not normal for them. So, I don't know what caused the change.
Yeah.
Because Dave did not flirt with Tyson, exactly.
No,
and they just did
all.
not... This relationship was never initiated properly, so it feels incredibly inappropriate to the point where I'm like, huh. They're rewriting the Dean route for being, like, too inappropriate or too horny or like something about his tone there and on that level, and I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to make of the Tyson route right now.
Yeah,
Maybe
well, especially after
just
he's
like, ooh,
so
horny.
characterized as his brother in the other route, which I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I get it, furries, like there are some fun kinks out there, I guess, but like,
yeah, they're also just not actually family, obviously.
They're not actually family, exactly. So it just doesn't really matter. But it is jarring for them to be so characterized as a platonic relationship in the one path that we've done, where they're just like not in a relationship, to then get whiplash going here. And this is part of the problem that I'm having with this game. It's like, people have been telling us, like, you know, you can't expect to understand all the character routes, like, if you don't do literally all of them on your own. Like, you need like, there's gonna get development in other routes, so just stick with it, it'll be fine. But then we go to the other routes and we get shit like this, where it's like, wait, this is not development. This is not what you were saying. This is not what was happening last time.
And I don't know if I'm missing something in the fast forward mess or not, but like, let me know, comments. What is the exact moment in the story where you think Dave and Tyson's romantic relationship or flirting relationship began? Like, a part where they consciously chose to start doing it, and there was a revelation or a moment of realization where they realized that, like, this is how they felt about each other, or at least that Tyson felt that way about fucking around with Dave like this. Like, what is the exact moment this started happening? Because mechanically, in the video game, it's the fact that he chose Tyson as his partner for the scavenger hunt. And that is technically how the relationships are started for us, the gamer. But that is not how relationships work in real life. Like, I mean, I'm sure you could make a story about somebody who chooses somebody for a scavenger hunt and that's the beginning of their romantic relationship, but that is not how that was characterized, really. So I'm just like, in terms of normal human beings and how they okay, fine, granted, not normal human beings. In terms of furries, in terms of real life furries and how they handle sexual relationships, I'll even accept that, although Dave does not seem like that kind of person. Where did that happen? Like, drawing on your personal experiences and whatnot, when did you see that mirrored in Tyson and Dave? When did they make a conscious choice to start this? Because it feels like at some point the scenes just started happening in a way that would be like kind of upsetting if you were the character involved, and this was not actually like if this feels like something that this feels like harassment that just started happening to Dave. Basically, it does not feel And like, yeah, you can always write it in smut terms as being like, oh, but he's really into it. So, but like,
yeah,
this does not resemble a relationship. It's very confusing how it started just happening at us, and maybe it's lost in the fast forward shuffle, but I don't know about that. Aw.
Yeah.
Had enough already? Here, I thought you liked the smell so much. Yeah, well, maybe. I trailed off as Haas came back over to join us. So far, this has been an alright workout.
Yeah. Beats my morning routine, though. That's getting stale, probably.
You work out in the morning?
Pilates, so sort of.
Ah, sounds gay. Unlike me just dragging my sack on this man's face. I mean, at least it's not the one with the music, right? Hey, I can dig working out to music.
I don't think I can picture Tyson doing Zumba, Dave. You realize there are multiple workouts that you can do
Yes, with music.
to music. Okay, whatever.
Hey, I reckon I'd be able to keep up. It's just working out with music, right? It's something like that. Why is he blushing that hard? What? We've never seen Haas make this face before. Did he just
We
spot
have not.
Dave's boner that nobody has mentioned yet? I bet I'd rock at it. It's just physical movement, right? Well, I like between Haas, who knew better, and Tyson, who was clueless. I can't say I've ever seen you move in the same way. Fuck, I bet I'm a natural at it. Oh, he's really competitive all of a sudden.
You hear that, Dave? Might have to get Tyson to give you a private lesson.
The blushy faces are so rare and almost exclusively extremely horny, so I don't know what's happening with Haas right now.
Yeah, man, I got no clue.
It felt like there was like a language to how these sprites were used, so I don't know why he's doing this right now. Oh, I'm sure Dave would enjoy a private lesson. Plenty. Anyway, it's almost about time for lunch, right? Not really? I mean, I guess if you're hungry, you can go get a snack.
Not up for working up a sweat, Dave?
No, not that. I just, don't really know how long you actually go at it for. Worked as a gym receptionist, but don't really keep tabs on how long people actually spend doing the thing, you know? What, you think they're spending time also hooking up in the shower, too?
I don't know about
Is
the
this-
writing in this game.
I'm starting
I
to
don't know
wonder if
about the
this is
writing
what
in
this
this game.
game's always like?
Yeah.
Is this what it's like if you pick anyone but Sal? Is it this horny out the gate? Like if you pick Haas
Yeah.
or Tyson or Dean, and it's like these relentlessly like, I mean, to be honest, like what you expect from a lot of furry visual novels, like
Yep.
especially the ones that I can't play on the channel, like are written a lot like this, where they're just going straight to like horny thought, horny thought, horny thought, horny scenario for the horny thought. This is all building to the horny sex scene.
Yeah.
Which is like fine, you can do that, but it's getting hit by
yeah.
that tone suddenly in our 100th episode of playing the game is is quite the
Yeah.
shift where I'm like,
It's
wait a
weird
minute.
because people told us that like, no, it's the Dean route that's super horny and like unearned and weird. And I'm sitting here like, what?
yeah,
excuse
I'm
me?
deer in the headlights right now, and maybe it's partly because we already, a lot of it might be because we specifically already experienced Sal. I would definitely not think this was like a well-written relationship so far regardless, but having played so much of the game to the point where we've seen the ending and never experienced this kind of horniness, and now it's just relentless to the point where
Not
it's
a
like
single time. Yeah.
it's practically happening instead of character development. that we're like, what is happening right now?
This is the route that everyone told
I'm
us
scared.
would have good character development that we would all care about and would be better than the last route. Just saying that. Just putting that out there. Just putting it out there that's a thing.
It's not hard to be better than Sal.
It is not hard to be better than Sal. This is fully 100% correct.
Sal just sits around over-explaining things while also not understanding anything, speaking in an endless monotone, and then like randomly trauma dumps you on you while choking you out over the pool, then goes on to talk about how he wants to be a cop, interspersed with more strange over-explaining and over-analyzing relationships of other people like he doesn't understand them, I guess. It didn't amount to a whole lot by the end. Eventually it just kind of just ebbed and then vanished from the story until the epilogue is us being married and dying together happy. And
all I'm saying is that it's getting really hard to give the game the benefit of the doubt.
I think we're past that.
Yeah. I think so too. I'd call you out for bullshitting, but I've been hit in the gym showers too, although not after a hard workout.
I'll be specific.
What were you doing in the gym showers, you fucking weirdo?
Yeah. I need to specify I've only been hit on after cardio. I've never hit on after weightlifting. Weird line, weird specific memory. I wouldn't remember which workout I did the day I was hit on in the gym, and like categorize and chronicle that as it being an important detail.
Yes, people are just like that.
What, gay? Hey, don't knock it till you tried it. Post-workout sex is pretty great. Wait,
you can tell that this was a porn game that got the porn taken out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck it, who cares?
Why does that not surprise me that you'd be so blasé about that?
Hey, if I'm taking the risk of bending you over in public, you better be honored you're worth the risk. We split off to do our own thing. We're just dropping it with that line.
We just are leaving that one. We're
Within
just moving.
And went until the time was left with the fact that line happened, and then everyone just awkwardly split up to do other stuff in the gym until it was time for lunch is deeply funny. Like, he made it so awkward everyone stopped talking for the rest of the day. Oh, hey Ty, what's up? You wanna go watch a movie? Huh? You, me, movie. Oh, sure, I guess. Why? Do I need a reason? Because if I do, I don't have one. I'll just go and watch it myself then. Doesn't bother me any. No, I didn't have any other plans. The movie sounds great. Dave's an alien. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna run into the ground every single time, but I'm just like, I'm just imagining how heartbroken I would be. Like, sincerely. I would be, like, upset if I asked Stephanie if she wants to watch a movie and her response was, why?
Sorry, that struck me as funny.
I mean, just think about it. For even, like, that's the wrong answer. That's not anywhere on the list of acceptable answers. Why sounds deeply upsetting, as in, like... why would we ever watch movies together, essentially? Like, it's inherently a yes or no question, or a maybe or something. Like, you either feel like watching a movie, or you have time to watch a movie, and so on, or not. It's not, why is not an answer to seeing a movie. That would hurt. Jesus Christ, Dave. Oh, great. I was gonna say how is anyone into Dave, but the real answer is how is everyone into Dave? I can accept Chunter over this. I'll meet you in the room or whatever, where we have dinner. Gotta go throw on a hoodie or whatever. Oh, Ty was already on his way out the door before I could get another word in. Guess I'm meeting him upstairs? Yeah, it's where the movie is. I figure I may as well set this thing up to save some time. It didn't take too long to get the main bits sorted for whatever movie Tyson intended to watch, but without knowing specifics, I couldn't load it up beforehand. He still has the Kingdom Hearts hoodie. It's a Tyson Root exclusive.
Good for him.
I didn't wait. Now I'm starting to wonder, like, was Ramen is my senpai supposed to be a Haas Root exclusive? Does each character have a costume change in there? We've never seen Sal dressed differently though. Why is this not? I mean, why was this not in the rotation elsewhere in the game?
Maybe Sal having his shirt off is a Sal route exclusive.
Maybe.
I mean, honestly, as far as we can tell, the Sal route is basically incomplete. So I don't know.
Like they just forgot to have more things.
Like it's just like there's no more to have here.
It just kind of like stop happening.
Yeah.
Which like I don't. Grizz hinted to me at the idea that in Act 3 the character routes just kind of like that they stopped being a thing, and I didn't know what that meant. So I got when we were nearing the end of the teens, which was kind of a slog in general, I was like really like, oh man, here it comes. Like day 15 to 20 was awful, but now that we're hitting 20, some kind of Act 3 is gonna start, and something really like impactful must happen, because Grizz hinted that the character routes end, and I assumed that was like in a way that made sense storytelling wise, of like something so big and climactic happens that it takes over the entire story. But not only did it just turn into another 4 days of sitting around doing nothing until day 25 finally started, the real answer was just the character routes stopped being written. It just, or at least in Sal, maybe the other ones have conclusions, but it definitely felt like Sal just stopped having scenes, and that was what that meant. And that is odd.
Yeah. No, it's extremely odd.
And if Tyson has other outfits, why doesn't he just... Why was he never seen in a different outfit the whole game? That'd be cool if people had a few different outfits that they cycle through throughout the trip. Almost like, you know, they have laundry. It was extremely weird that one character changed their appearance, because that raises it as a question that every other character never does. That's just out of nowhere, we had Haas in a different shirt, and it broke the fabric of the universe in that moment. Like the moment where you're forced to question a cartoon character that doesn't wear pants. Where you're like, hang on a minute, now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. As Tyson entered the room, he flicked off the light and wandered on over, pushing me into one of the beanbags lightly while he looked at the movie options. So what are we watching? Don't know. Doesn't matter anyway. What do you mean? We're gonna do the chill part of the Netflixing, Dave. That's the implication. The question fell on deaf ears, though, as Tyson kept browsing. The question fell on deaf ears, though, as Tyson kept browsing, almost seemingly picking one at random in the end and sitting down next to me. Dedicated CG. He looks extremely different.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Dave looks normal, but that's a very different Tyson. Also, he's dressed differently, so they made him dress like this so that the CG could then not match it immediately. Whoops.
That is funny. I didn't realize that. I didn't even notice that till just now.
If you have a CG, why not just dress him like he does the CG if the drawing is how he always looks anyway? Why did he turn into his unique costume that I thought was a flashback costume that we've never seen before, and was only justified by, I gotta go put on a hoodie? Like, they had him say he's gonna put on a hoodie to justify the continuity of putting on a hoodie for this scene, only to immediately not have him in a hoodie in the CG. So you could just go back and delete that line, and then not have him in the hoodie. And then it's fixed. Ta-da! Okay. Movie is starting. Sit there and be quiet, yeah? What? Sure? There was no way the movie was holding my attention with how Tyson was behaving, but he seemed to be equally distracted. He wasn't even looking at the screen. Are you okay? Yep. This feels like the awkward flirting of them starting, like Tyson feeling out the idea of being in a relationship with a guy, It has that tone of like, I'm gonna go see a movie with my date, but on this weird context of this trip. But that would make sense as a direct follow-up to the awkwardness of holding hands in the maze and then yanking his hand away. But there's all the really horny, super gay scenes that have happened between those scenes and before one of those scenes, where I'm like, wait, is that what's happening?
I think a lot of people often will look at that and they'll say, well, clearly, that's like signposting. Actual people do shit like that all the time. Straight people do really gay things, and they act like it's just a thing until it's not. And I'm like,
that was not straight people. That was not straight gay.
Yeah,
that
no,
was
exactly.
Full gay.
But the thing that I was gonna say is that, like, here's like a problem with the way that people perceive narrative, right? People think that stories, this is like a I'm gonna politely and jokingly refer to this as the Andrew problem of people being like, stories need to be exactly like real life. I need to understand. They either need to be fully fantastic, or if characters don't act exactly the correct way, like a normal human would in all circumstances, then the story's unbelievable. But the thing about story is it's presented to you. It is a story. The whole point is that unlike life, where things don't have inherent meaning, in a story, you line up ideas and present information in a cogent and coherent way so that you then gather meaning from it in a way that is not present in the chaos of our reality. So, in a story that is about characters forming relationships, when you go like, yeah, well, he just put his balls on your face as a joke, and that's actually setting up that he's like maybe toying with this. That's not actually how that works, because that's like jumping. It's like you're jumping the shark here, putting the cart before the horse to get the horny scene out before you put up the scene that sets up that this character might be having some sort of struggle or difficulty with this or hurdle understanding their feelings, right? And it gets more and more nonsensical the more times that happens in a row, because the flow of the narrative that is being presented to you is turned into the completely illogical random chaos that a non-story real life circumstance has. So it's just very weird to get into this kind of space where it's like, this scene could work. It needs to happen before the workout.
Yeah, and we'll see if it even turns out to be the scene that I think it's going to be, but it just immediately seems like it is. But the thing, like, if I steelman this, I would say that, like, the other scene was him essentially doing that trope of being a bully to get away with gay shit under the context of bullying. The problem is that so many of those scenes have been so explicitly just homoerotic for the intent of being gay, for pleasure, for all parts involved, and also increasingly just in public, like holding hands is too gay, but like literally just like making a point to shove your crotch directly on the other guy's face while talking just talking dirty to him in front of Haas, potentially, because he's just in the same room, is I know he's checked to see if the coast was clear or whatever, but like this dude couldn't handle hand holding a second ago. There's definitely like a vague version of this weird like masculine bravado homoeroticism where you can get away with certain behaviors that are less romantically coded or something, but I don't think they nailed that. I think that he's been way too horny in a way that's just actually gay, and talking about fucking men constantly, like just all the time now. Like it's just there's too many. A lot of these
he literally just
work.
said that he's hooked up in the gym showers.
Yeah,
those are not co-ed. That's not
no, that you're
how
just
that
saying
works.
that you do gay stuff. It's like maybe it's supposed to be that he just can't handle. He's extremely down for raw dog and men, but having any kind of emotional connection is the gay part.
Yep.
I guess that might be where they're going. I don't know. I've definitely just been like a deer in the headlights for the last like half an hour of just like, what the fuck is happening? I don't.
Yeah.
It just doesn't compute to me with the way it's happening.
I struggle with it too. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
This is the route that everyone says that we would like and would be better.
I can
Just
see
saying.
a few different options of what it's grasping at, but I just don't think that works the way it's doing it. Neither of us said anything for a few minutes. The sound of the movie playing as a background noise. Dave, so, yeah? Did you need to talk about something? Lay off, alright? Talking about this sort of shit is hard. What stuff? Us. I let the word hang in the air for a moment. Blindsided. Blindsided?
Dave is.
Dave!
I mean, we've been over this 100 times. Dave is a dumb motherfucker. There's not anything you can say about that.
Grasp why Tyson would suddenly ask him to watch a movie with him and then not care what the movie is, not pay attention to the movie.
True.
And after all
True
that's
fact.
happening. This could go any number of ways, and immediately I didn't want to be the one to make the first move. What? Why? What? There was a few more minutes before Ty made any sort of sound, mumbling at the first time under his breath before slapping himself and turning to address me proper. Who's better looking? Me or Haas? Wait, what? Who's the better looking one between me and the lion? Who's more attractive? You think she's pretty, don't you? Yeah, I mean, it seems like the move to do is to say Tyson or something. I don't. I feel like asking this question always. I feel like asking this question makes you instantly not the answer.
Yeah.
That's the
confidence.
That's the real
is important.
answer.
Is important. Yeah. Ooh, that's a real brutal. This is all brutal. This is all hard.
I'm just gonna lean in. I mean, you sort of had that scruffy, rugged quality, right? I'm into men, not boys. I mean, that saying about beauty is the eye of the beholder. Yeah, I think Scruffy's pretty good. Dave, you are so bad at this that you're qualifying
He's
and
incredibly
justifying
terrible.
your attraction instead of just saying you. Sure, I guess. That was a useless answer. There wasn't anything more than silence for the next half hour. Tyson's eyes wandering up to the movie as he sat and stared, expression seemingly unshifting, gaze unfocused. I guess this is why Dave said why to watching a movie, was because the author knew the scene meant something else, but Dave had no reason to think that, so it was just a super weird answer, because he doesn't know this scene's about to happen. For all he knows, they are just gonna watch a movie because Tyson's his friend, and specifically, he's Tyson's only friend. Oop. I'd half forgotten about what he'd asked me until I heard him grumbling to himself, pulling on the fur of his arms. Hey, whoa, Ty. What? Don't do that, you'll hurt yourself. Yeah, well, maybe. I know I've hurt a bunch of people. Would be a hypocrite if I couldn't take it too. That's not... Okay. Okay, seriously, what's bothering you, Ty? I'm very stupid. Nothing. Bullshit. Whoa. This isn't who Dave is.
Nope.
I wish Dave was this chunter, but he's not. Fine. You know what's bothering me? You. I can't figure you out. You're so gay, but you're also so dumb. How does that happen? You can't figure me out? Yeah, like, you did me a solid in school. I did you one back. Figured that'd be the end of it when it was all over. Well, you kind of got kicked out. That's my point. The hell kind of person checks in on their bully after school? Well, I like to think we became friends at some point, right? What the fuck?
Are they debating whether or not they're friends now?
Was this written before their entire backstory? they've been living together on and off, or like sort of, for like
Oh
months or
yeah, I
years.
forgot about that. I forgot that they literally are part of a family together.
Yeah, the whole brother part is still, the entire background context for that is still canon no matter what. It didn't happen here. So like, they've been hanging out with his dad. Like he's going to name himself Holloway because of how much they're family. Like, I'd like to think we became friends at some point. Because this is
Yeah.
what?
I don't know. That's weird.
The hell kind of person checks on their bully after school? I'm trying to make sense of what they mean by this, because this is him checking on him when he's crying, right? When they basically had barely interacted besides getting bullied. So
Yeah.
this can't be in response to like their relationship before he checked in on him, to justifying it, because they weren't friends, obviously. They became friends afterwards.
I don't understand.
So are you asking
what's
whether they've
happening
become
right
friends
now.
since? Because obviously they have. They're like blood brothers, not literally not blood brothers. The other one, in spirit, whatever.
Bond brothers or something. Yeah.
They're bonded like crazy. Yeah, I've heard that line before. What the fuck? This isn't Tyson. This just isn't Tyson. I reject this character.
Did we accidentally get slipped into the Dean route? Like, what's happening?
This just isn't the character Tyson that I've known for the last 100 episodes of this game. What? Look, you didn't have to invite me out to this thing, but you did. That was a cool move. It was explicitly not a cool move, Tyson, because people hate you here, and it's not going well. I can't for the life of me figure out why. What?
I am so deeply struggling with this right now.
Upset.
Oh my god, this scene is terrible. What happens if Dave has his little depressive episode breakdown and then what's his name? Just oh my god,
That's the thing.
this doesn't work.
We're only a few days away from Dave getting his dad dreams. Which is the whole point, is Tyson was so tied into that whole part of his life that he's the one that tells everyone. That's how tight they are together. What is this? I don't understand what any of this conversation means. This does not slot into the existing puzzle. This is not, these are completely different pieces for completely different puzzle. It's like a, we were doing a haunted house before. This one's got a picture of a Labrador. It's just a different puzzle. It doesn't fit. I don't know. This does not stand up to replay, but which is the only way to experience the game, by and large. So, I don't understand. Nothing they're saying makes sense. Okay. Ty suddenly got up and headed to the door. Hey, wait. We were so sure this was supposed to be about their building, like, romantic relationship, but instead, it's them, like, it's like crashing down and destroying what we thought we knew about the basis of their relationship before. Like, was it just written later? And they never fixed it? But he kept on walking, storming towards the back door. Ty, hang on. Leave me alone, Dave. I'm back in my hoodie. Pursue. I grabbed him by the arm and tried to hold him back, immediately finding resistance. Dude, calm down. Just tell me what's wrong. You're such a pain in the ass, you know that? You don't get how fortunate you are, Dave. You have a nice bunch of friends, and what do I have? No one except you. That's okay. I'm sure the others will warm up to you if you... And it'll be fine. No! Grow up. That's not how the world works. You think that everyone can get along. You think that people are just good people deep down. Sorry to be the one to tell you, but people are assholes. See, this scene could be good without the previous scene in the context of how badly thought out bringing Tyson was. This is the call out that should happen, but the shit they said broke the game. I don't...
Yeah.
That's bullshit, Tyson, and you know it. I say bullshit in this route a lot. Oh yeah? I tell other people not to swear. Tyson pushed into my personal space, getting right up into my face. Let's work down the list. First, we have a bear who thinks with his dick. You don't get to say that, Tyson.
Does he? Because at this point, you think with your dick, you idiot.
Anyone playing Tyson route first is like, what are you talking about? Dean made two relatively chaste horny jokes, and Tyson is just like grinding his fucking musky husky bulge on your face. God knows if he knows anything meaningful about you.
People told us the Sal route was the bad one that doesn't have character development, and I'm sitting here thinking maybe the Sal route is the only one that has logical character development.
It mostly made sense. It just didn't amount to anything because they didn't have anywhere to go with it, and yeah, I was really waiting for the experimented sister thing to come up again, and I think it just
never did. Just didn't.
I mean,
that's just the tragic part of his backstory
about what it should mean. Then you have the two lard asses who follow you around because you're the leader, but they push you around like you're nothing but acting nice. They push you around like you're nothing by acting nice. Oh, they push you around like you're nothing by acting nice. I found how that sentence is going. Okay. Then you have the pretty boy who cares more about his claws than your feelings, and a musclehead who seems to be more preoccupied with swimming than talking to anyone. This could be a cool deconstruction of how this group of friends isn't really friends in a Flynn sort of way, but I think the game is supposed to be about us being friends, so I don't think you can Flynn us like this. I don't think this actually is extremely the Flynn like route selection conversation. Like, here's the dressing down of every individual character and why this isn't a real group of friends, but that's our criticism of the story that doesn't seem to be supported by how the story actually works. I snapped. In the next room, I was torn between headbutting him, slapping him, kneeing him in the groin, or some combination of the three. Famously violent Dave.
Are they gonna kiss? Is it gonna be I'm so mad at you, and then they kiss?
I shoved him back suddenly, throwing my weight behind the move. Oh yeah? And how's that make you any better? I'm not, but I'm upfront about it. But you know what the real kick in the balls is? What is it, Tyson? What could possibly be the one thing that tops everything? That maybe because of you, Tyson cuts himself off, looking away. You know what? Fuck it. I don't care anymore. What? I'm going home. I'll walk for all I care. Hitchhike,
Please.
whatever. I'm out.
The smartest thing you've ever said. You have no idea the bullet that you're dodging.
It's deeply ironic that the route where you hang out with Tyson all the time is the one where he leaves, and the one where if you ignore him all the time and just ruin this month for him, he stays. He probably doesn't leave, but the fact that he's threatening to leave now, I'm like, bro, you put up with being completely sidelined on a trip where your only friend was me. But he didn't add anything to it. Starting to walk towards the forest. Stop, Tyson. I closed the distance between where I stood and Tyson, grabbing him by the back of his hoodie. Dave, let go. No! You're starting to scare me, Ty. I don't know what's caused all this, but something's not right. And I just want to help. I just got rain and thunder because to match the cinematography of the scene in real life. What the fuck? It just started full on. If you suddenly stop hearing from me, then guess what? The fact that thunder and rain hit in the middle of this blow up is so on point. That's wild. I don't know what's caused all this, but something's not right. I just want to help. You're better than this. Before I realized what had happened, Tyson had spun around and jabbed me square in the nose. My vision
so
going
unearned.
dark. No,
they're
it's
brothers.
So
they're brothers.
It's like, are they fucking, or are they so tight that you let him spill all your closest secrets, or are you like a few words away from getting jabbed in the face by him? Like,
well,
what?
To be fair, Sal's route proved that friends beat each other up just ruthlessly for making simple mistakes in conversation. So
yeah, getting a bloody nose and maybe a concussion from your friend is actually first base in password verse. Tyson had spun around and jabbed me square in the nose, my vision going dark for a few moments as I collapsed on the ground. That's a big hit. Ow. My head was spinning, and through my blurry vision, I could make out Tyson lingering, watching me. I mean, at least I'm not bored. This has my attention. What the fuck is happening? Don't go. You're better off without me, Dave. Enjoy your month or whatever.
Ugh.
I managed to get up on my hands and knees, the world still spinning, and I was fairly certain my nose was bleeding. I croaked out my want for him to stay, but he kept walking, and soon enough he disappeared among the trees beyond the backyard and into the forest proper. I don't know how long I'd been there on the ground, but eventually I felt myself getting panicked and picked up and brought inside.
Shh, let me patch you up.
Oh,
I don't want you to do anything to me, Sal.
I forgot he's like a physical therapist. I always forget his whole thing because it's also not a thing in the story. As my vision returned, I looked at Sal, rummaging through a first aid kit.
What happened out there?
I'm still upset at the idea that he's a physical therapist and he wants to become a cop because he wants to actually help people. And it's like, dude,
Oh, yeah.
you're doing a really good thing right now. What the fuck? I sank into my shoulders slightly, not wanting to admit it. I got punched.
I can see that.
Sal started to clean me up, wiping the blood from my mouth and nose with something that smelled alcoholic. It stung, but Sal held me steady as he continued to work. This like Sal the caretaker in a really tender scene that like funnily enough never happens in Sal's route.
Yeah.
It's not what you think though.
I heard the yelling.
Oh. Sal refused to look me in the eye, and the longer the silence went between us, the more I wondered just how much he'd overheard. And you brought me inside?
I couldn't leave you outside. You were hurt.
You weren't unconscious, Dave. Why is that a question? Sal eyed me curiously for a moment before shaking his head.
I don't mean to pry, but
What's up? What could you possibly be asking me about? What's up? What's up? Why?
I think I understand.
Do you?
As someone who doesn't do well talking with others, I think he's struggling in the same way.
Violence is the answer to your problem, apparently.
I don't like that. I don't like the comparison there. Like, if we're thinking that Sal has autism, I don't like the idea that, like, we're struggling to communicate and that's why we punch people. That's what we have in common. Like, I don't want that to be a comparison that's drawn there. Well, sure, but I don't think I'd seen him that worked up or that wild.
Can I tell you a story?
Oh, sure.
It was one of the first times I liked someone.
I briefly read that as killed. I was like, oh.
The feeling was so foreign to me that it drove me insane. By the time I finally got to vent it out, it came out uncontrolled and I made a mess of the situation. They didn't want to talk to me after that.
Did we already get this? Is this a skippable dialogue? I remember this story.
It's not skippable, but it might be the same story retold in a different spot, technically.
Gotcha.
But yeah, this is Sal being the Tyson whisperer. He knows him intimately what he's like, and this him hitting you in the face, and knocking you out is because he loves you. That's a good lesson to learn. Getting bullied.
That's
by
exactly
kids
what Tyson's root is about. Learning to love your abuser. This lines up with his whole character from the other arc. This game is well written.
I'm so caught off guard by how we thought we knew what the scene was going to be with the movie theater and everything, and we were like ready for like, okay, I see what they're going for, but you can't do that because of this other stuff, like it just doesn't fit. But we were completely off base because it doesn't fit for wildly different reasons.
Yeah,
like,
it did a completely different bad swerve.
It went so far off the rails that it was actually like we were giving it the benefit of the doubt. As it turned out, we were anticipating a better intent for the scene and taking it easy on it with our first interpretation of what it was doing wrong. And it was so catastrophically worse that now we're just shell-shocked.
Completely. 100% accurate.
In fact, they avoided me from then out. It was terrible.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sal. Incidentally, I haven't talked to you all trip long. Who could you be talking about?
It's fine, really. My point is, maybe whatever's bothering Tyson is just because he doesn't know how to properly vent. And given what I just saw, it's no wonder he needs friends badly.
Grey Wolf needs friends badly. You think so? I thought he was just hungry. Sal sighed, shaking his head.
I'm not volunteering, but he'd benefit from having more than just you, yes.
I want to throw Dave into the atmosphere and watch him freeze. You have all these people, Dave, and what do I have? Just you. You really think he needs friends, Sal? Same scene. Like, we're still doing the same overall scene where Tyson explicitly said to our face that he has no one. Like, in a moment of honesty, and he's like, "What do you think he needs friends?" It's crazy.
I'm worried that you're putting yourself out too much, and he's going to take advantage of that, more than what he is already.
Hey, Sal, can I ask your opinion on something?
Always.
I'm good at people. With what you said before, do you think Tyson's situation is the same?
It's possible. But I'd caution you around Tyson if that's the case. Affection for another can run deep and mess with your head in the best and worst ways. I'd worry that he's either mistaking his feelings for someone else or doesn't understand how you should be treating someone in a relationship. Please understand, I don't mean to lead you one way or another. Just be careful.
But he did explicitly lead us in one way. I will. Promise. I won't. I'll just do nothing.
I'm glad.
As the day went on, Sal and I just talked about stuff while people filed in for dinner. Or rather, finding themselves brought into the conversation. Or rather? That doesn't scan. that implies like a contradiction, and there's none. By the time everyone had assembled, everyone was aware, or at least partially aware, of what had transpired with Tyson earlier and why he wasn't around. I still reckon it's bullshit. Had no right to talking to you that way, Dave. I shot Sal a look, and he looked back in kind. The one thing we'd neglected to tell the others, or rather seemed to intentionally omit, was where he lay into me. Sal did a good enough job patching me up that no one seemed to immediately notice.
Seems strange though. He seemed normal this morning. Maybe something happened.
Yeah, like that's an appropriate excuse. He's just a jerk. Some people are just like that. Not everyone, though. Yeah, it's what some people means, Dean. If you're looking for a boyfriend, Dave, pick someone who'd treat you right. Okay, so they're explicitly not in a relationship. Just highlighting that because of how weird the Dean date situation was. Like, yeah, here's a reminder. They're not in a relationship. He's like, if you're looking for a boyfriend. Dean pointed to himself, ignoring the others still staring daggers at him for not picking his moment correctly. In all seriousness, though, did he really leave? Seems strange he wouldn't at least take his things with him.
Hope he doesn't get sick. Speaking as someone still trying to shake it off, he's going to have a rough time if he's hitchhiking all the way back home with it.
Are they over their thing? I don't remember what day that was. Like, have you forgotten what he did to us? I don't know which side of that we're on. It's been 100 years. Well, it's his call in the end, right?
Yeah, but he could have left on better terms at least. As heartless as it sounds, him leaving doesn't really affect anything though, so there's that upside.
For someone who's supposed to be a fucking mastermind and fucking Thanatos' master, you have literally the least foresight, and you should objectively know that that is not correct and not how the vault works. I know it's a little early for that, but fuck you.
It's so weird that he's just hinting at the vault explicitly here. Like, the weirdness of like how everyone else was picked for this trip except for Tyson. Like, I understand the idea of planting this. You'd want to plant the seeds for certain twists and reveals earlier, so that it doesn't feel like you're just making stuff up, like how homosexuality was, homophobia was invented on day 25. But this is an insane thing for Roswell just to say out of nowhere. It sounds like he's just really heartless towards Tyson, but it's also like, no matter how you read this, anyone playing the video game has to be like, oh, like there's a plan? What is the plan? There's some kind of plan here that Tyson doesn't factor into. What the fuck is Roswell talking about? Like, it's him. This would be him spilling the beans so hard if we saw this before. That's not very fair, Roswell.
But it's true. It doesn't affect the scavenger hunt. He didn't really interact with the rest of us in the first place, so where's the problem?
That's definitely not what he meant, but also he's literally my partner in the scavenger hunt. Fuck you. I guess, but you don't have to say it so bluntly.
Sorry.
I guess there's nothing we can really do about it though, right?
Not really. Only way would be if you could somehow call him and get him to come back, and so we could organize him a cab or whatever, right? Their phones haven't been shut off. Why didn't he just call a fucking Uber? Dave called an Uber. If Dave can do it, anyone can do it. What the fuck?
Yeah, he could have gotten a ride home, because the fact that he's just walking off. I think it's because he's not. I'm pretty sure it's because he's not actually leaving. Like, he's gonna wander off into the woods.
Yeah, he's just
and then
gonna be
come
like,
back.
I'm running away, and then hang out by the door
Yeah.
like a little kid until someone tells him to come back in.
Well, I think he's just gonna go off into the woods and come back after a day or something. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, like they can literally just get rides home. So it's strange. Like, he didn't need to walk. I guess it's expensive to get an Uber or something, but even that doesn't quite make sense when you're like risking your life just walking down the road without stakes. Ugh. But yeah, if he did just call a ride, then it would be over, and that would ruin it. Because I assume he comes back unless you just have to pick a different combination of options, because there admittedly has been way more choices than normal in the Tyson route. But I would expect them to be small variations, but there could be like a correct combo to keep him.
Fair point. Doubt you'd get any reception if you were deep enough in the woods, too.
Over dinner, the conversation went mostly the same, with very little else exciting having happened during the course of the day. Conversation went mostly the same? I got halfway through my meal before wondering if Tyson was stuck out in the woods or on his way home. I excused myself and headed back towards my room, pausing to look towards the back door. No idea why. Maybe I was hoping Tyson would come back through the door. Only thing that greeted me was the sound of a distant storm brewing. That's where that branch is. I wonder if it's going now to the Sal death around here. I think so. I've admittedly lost track of where we are in Oswin territory too. I guess we'll have to see.